Thug life, y'all don't forget that shit. What type nigga is a thug life, nigga? Thug life, y'all don't forget that shit. What type nigga is a thug life, nigga? Thug life, y'all don't forget that shit. What type nigga? Thug life, y'all don't forget that shit. What type nigga is a thug life, nigga? Another one. Another one.
Give me a hell yeah. What? What? Give me a hell yeah. What? What?
So you in that motherfucker twin? What going on, Ted? What going on, Ted? You in that motherfucker?
Give me a hell yeah! Give me a hell yeah! What?
Hold on now.
What?
You like that fuck, man? It got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I need to change the color, but my skin a little dead. Hold on, okay? I ain't look black. I sit all the way back and shit. See shit, but. All right, so everybody get started. DMX, we're gonna start off with DMX first. The Big Pun later on. Sad story. Both of them young gentlemen, but two of the greatest rappers in history. I don't know too much about DMX. I don't know too much about Big Pun. If y'all know, let me know. Drop shit. If they missing some in the stream, y'all ain't telling me. Let me know. That being said, we're gonna get started. Starting off with DMX. Rough Rider, you know what I'm saying? Make sure I turn it up. Oh yeah, damn, I knew something was wrong. I couldn't hear this shit. Sorry, cause we are live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay, do it. Let's go ahead and start it off. I'm trying to wait for everybody to get in here. We're gonna go ahead and get started off.
This guy, Reddy Ron, I mean, he was like an older brother to me. So he came back with a blunt rolled up. I never felt like this. Like it just, yeah. I'm like, I later found out that he laced the blunt with crack. Why would you?
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Gonna start out like that.
Get your ass on, boy.
You gonna how you lace the blunt with crack? Oh my God.
Do that to a child? Like 30. This guy, Reddy Ron, I mean, he was like an older brother to me. So he came back with a blunt rolled up. I never felt like this. Like it just, yeah. I'm like, I later found out that he laced the blunt with crack. Why would you do that to a child? Like 30, you know what I'm saying? And he knew how I looked up to him. He knew how I looked up to him, you know what I'm saying? And like, why would you do that to somebody who looks up to you like this? I mean,
He feels very abandoned.
Yeah, he felt like his mother abandoned him.
He feels not loved.
You thought I had abandoned you. Why would I do that to you?
I don't know.
You should.
I don't know why.
Everybody knows you.
the monster was born. The monster was born.
The tragic life and death of DMX. Few artists have ever worn their pain so openly, or turned it into something so raw and unforgettable. From the streets of Yonkers to the top of the rap world, DMX wasn't just a rapper. He was a voice for the broken, the angry, and the lost. His music was a battle between faith and demons, hope and self-destruction, fame and suffering. But behind the barking growl and platinum records was a man fighting battles most people never saw. Today we're taking a deep look into the story of DMX. His rise, his struggles, and the heartbreaking end of one of hip-hop's most tortured legends.
God damn, that nigga got about 20 mud shots on him. God damn.
The story begins on December 18th, 1970, in Mount Vernon, New York, when Arnett Simmons gave birth to her son Earl, aka DMX. He was her second child. The first was his sister Bonita, who's 2 years older than him. Arnett was only 17 years old when she became a mother, but she was not fit to be a parent. That's why she gave X's sister Bonita to her sister, DMX's aunt, where she stayed until shortly after his birth. cause she needed to get her life together and figure out how to not only survive on her own, but also how to raise 2 babies. The pregnancy wasn't planned, and it only made things difficult for her. She moved into a home for unwed mothers in Mount Vernon.
Shout out to my boy Escalation.
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah. What?
You going, bro?
What?
And then a year later, her mother, who she saw as her only support, passed away. From there, they moved into a 1-bedroom apartment off the School Street apartment complex in Yonkers, since there were more low-income housing than Mount Vernon. They basically moved into the ghetto, where heat and hot water often didn't work, where the elevators were always broken, and the stairways were always covered in urine, broken glass, and tobacco spit. It was an all-black and Hispanic building, and the apartments had a roaches and rats problem. X's mother was on public assistance, and it was really hard for her to pay all the bills and the rent at the same time. And on top of that, X was also always sick, inheriting a lot of allergies from his mother and bronchial asthma from his father. X explains how he remembers all the scary nights waking up not being able to breathe and having to go to the emergency room where they would keep him overnight. Sometimes his asthma got so bad that they would keep him for a whole week, and they could
check. It's gonna be one of these damn stores. You can get your tissues out. Yeah, damn. It's gonna be one of them goddamn stores. I know Big Pun shit worse, but you know what I'm saying? We gonna get in after this. We gonna get into Big Pun. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature.
Never find the right thing to do. Not only that, but they also made his condition worse by giving him the wrong drugs. One day he had to go back to the hospital 3 different times because he kept getting sick by the drugs they gave him. His sister told him that there was a time when an asthma attack caused his heart to stop beating, forcing the paramedics to take him out the house in a sit-up stretcher because he almost died. And shortly after that, he got hit by a car while playing by himself in the street. He had just found a dime and was excited because it was all silver and shiny. He picked it up and immediately wanted to go to the store to buy himself some candy. He ran across the street as fast as he could, managing to avoid the cars, reaching the store unharmed. He bought himself a lollipop and a Super Bowl, and then rushed back without looking. That's when he got hit by a car. The impact was so hard that he got knocked halfway up the street, all the way under a parked car. According
Where he got that mama at? Lord have mercy.
to X, he was badly hurt, but somehow didn't feel any pain. It took a couple of weeks until he recovered. His family is Jehovah's Witness, so his mother turned down the $10,000 settlement that X would have gotten for the accident. The driver...
I know you fucking lying. You know what I'm saying? I got faith. You know what I'm saying? I need them phone young though. You know what I'm saying? I know you fucking lying. I know we ain't gonna walk past that like he didn't say that. Like she did a joke. Jehovah's Witness, you turned down the money? Oh, hell nah, twin. Oh, we gonna want that back right there, Chad.
Football, and then rushed back without looking. That's when he got hit by a car.
You know what I'm saying?
The impact was so hard that he got knocked halfway up the street, all the way under a parked car. According to X, he was badly hurt, but somehow didn't feel any pain. It took a couple of weeks until he recovered. His family is Jehovah's Witness, so his mother turned down the $10,000 settlement that X would have gotten for the accident. The driver was drunk and ran a red light. X grew up in a very religious household, which helped to shape him and later molded him into a spiritual and religious artist, with countless songs about God and his faith. Something else that left a mark on him was the love life of his mother. According to X, she had dozens of boyfriends, who she treated better than her own son. Every time strangers flirted with his mother, X would get angry and start yelling at them, telling them that he'll kill them, and his mother would silence and embarrass him, supposedly enjoying the attention she got from other men. He would develop anger issues because of it, wanting to kill each and every one of those men his mother would spend the night with. Most of them didn't stay for longer than a weekend. And his mom would supposedly beat him for every man that did her wrong, for every man that quote-unquote effed her and left her. He would also...
Where the daddy at? Hey, where your daddy at? See, you see, check that way. Y'all be careful, y'all kids with, bro. I'm trying to tell you, that one ain't got nothing. Oh, I'll be don't kill her ass. You know what I'm saying? And GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I would have killed him in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I'm saying?
To get beaten for looking like his quote-unquote good-for-nothing father. You ain't ish, you're just like your father. That's what she would tell him over and over again, even before he was old enough to go to school. His dad knew that he existed, but never thought about living in the house with him. Never called on his birthday or helped his mother to raise him. That made it very hard for her, and she took out her frustrations on him, because no matter what he did, he was the problem. His mother also took judo classes and knew how to fight. So the beatings were severe, and every time she got tired, she would let one of her many boyfriends whoop his ass. X always felt...
She about made me whoop her motherfucking ass at this damn point. Ain't no goddamn way. What? Ooh. Where the family members at? Where the uncles and shit? I got a question. Lord have mercy, bro. Poor little X, bro. Poor DMX, bro. Damn. That shit crazy, bro.
Felt like his mother wasn't prepared to have kids. After him, she had 2 more sons, but they died at birth. When X was 5, the man he was named after, called Earl Scott, beat him with an extension cord. X and his sister were bored. So while the man was sleeping, they dripped hot candle wax on him. The man got up and started swinging at them. Only reason why X's mother got mad is because his sister got hit as well. Her right eye got red and was swollen. Then there was a mailman by the name of Richie, who would occasionally pay his mother a visit. X was so scared that he would get stomach pains every time he came. Richie would immediately go to his mother's bedroom, and after they were finished, his mother would tell him what X did wrong, even if it happened weeks ago, encouraging the man to beat him up. And when he came out with a belt, X knew that he would receive another beating. Stand up, the both of you. Now bend over. Bonita, for not finishing the dishes, you get 2 hits. Earl, because you slammed the door and have been acting up, you get 5. If you moved or tried to run away, he'd start from 1 again. It was the worst experience for him. Something that he remembered until the day he died. But that wasn't the worst beating he received. When he was 6, his mother beat him with a broom, knocking out 2 of his teeth. He would experience frequent verbal and also physical abuse from his mother and her boyfriends, sustaining multiple cuts and bruises and leaving him with permanent scars on his face. But his mother wasn't the only family member in his life that was irresponsible. When X was 7, his aunt Vern made him drink vodka at a family gathering.
Vodka?
After a few sips, he had...
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
What a child services at this damn point? Like, he's 7 years old drinking vodka. Oh, Lord. Jesus. I thought we were going to get into some hip-hop. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers, goddamn. Lord have mercy.
To lie down and felt tired. He got drunk immediately. All he remembered was people cursing. That's where he supposedly learned it from. His aunt basically taught him how to curse without even knowing it, cause they all thought that he was asleep in the corner. But X was listening. His dad wasn't around much. During his childhood, he only saw him once. And that was when he took him to New York City to sell his paintings. He was an artist committed to his craft even during times when he wasn't making any money. He always refused to do anything else. Instead of getting a job that pays well, he chose to go homeless and live in Central Park for a few weeks because he refused to do anything else besides paint. That stubbornness and interest for art was passed on to X, who would start covering his bedroom walls with self-painted pictures, wanting to be an artist just like his dad. In elementary school, the teachers would describe him with 2 words: bright as in intelligent, but also manipulative. Earl is very manipulative, Mrs. Simmons, the teachers would tell his mother. As a kid, he loved to read. He was put into an advanced reading class consisting of only 6 to 7 kids, doing more advanced work than the rest of his classmates.
Okay.
He would also study for spelling bees and be the best in the class.
Okay.
Part of the reason why he was putting in so much effort was to impress his mother, but she didn't really care about it, according to X. He would always wait patiently for the right moments to bring it up whenever his mom had company, going into the living room to inform her about his performance in school. "Mama, can I tell you something?" "What is it, Earl?" "Mama, I can spell Empire State Building." She wouldn't fully turn towards him whenever she had people over. So most of the time, X was talking to the side or the back of her head, because she was always in the middle of conversations with other people. "Ah, that's nice, baby. Now go to your room, okay? Because grown folks are talking." "But Mama, I can go to your room, Earl." It was like she couldn't be bothered, like I was always interrupting her. I just wanted to tell her what I knew, to show her how I was doing in school. What the hell was wrong with that? It was like my moms didn't give a F. And I guess that's why she never made me feel like I was worth anything. But I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that because I was...
So I don't know what the fuck to say. Damn. That nigga had a bad childhood, well. Shit. Like mom, like you try to pressure your mama with your grades and shit, and then that shit didn't work. Like, well, I wonder what wrong with him. Something wrong with his mama. Did she do? She think she Jackie Chan? You know what I'm saying? Beating on him, using Jackie Chan and Jet Li moves and shit. Like, they let the boyfriends beat her. Well, I would've goddamn blacked out in that motherfucker. You hear me? Lord have mercy. Hurt my little heart right now. I don't even know what to say to it.
Good. I was a good mother effing kid. As the 3rd grade went on, X started getting bored. The challenge of the spelling bees only came once a week, and the other days he got tired of what he felt like was the same work over and over again. Nothing supposedly inspired him after he finished learning all the material and doing all the assignments they gave him. He put in less and less work, and then even started acting up and causing trouble in school, throwing erasers and spitballing during the exams. He became the class clown and notorious in school for causing trouble. He would randomly start stabbing kids with a pencil. 3 to 4 times a week he would have to stay in class for an extra half an hour for detention. But that didn't bother him, since he didn't want to go home to his mother anyway. And during detention, he would steal the toys of his classmates which they would leave in their desks at school. He even managed to convince the main office into believing that he and his family moved, that they had a different address and phone number, making sure that they couldn't find his mother to inform her when X was acting up in school. One day she found out by herself after wondering why she hadn't received any letters from them. They then wanted to leave him back because of his bad behavior. But they couldn't do it since his mother convinced them into making him take an IQ test, which, interesting enough, came back higher than the kids that were 2 to 3 years older than him. So they promoted him. The smarter I got, the more bored I got. And the more bored I got, the more trouble I caused. Then no one cared how smart I was. It was a effed up cycle. And through it all, I just felt that I wasn't being heard. I wasn't being allowed to fly. One day he didn't go home after school. He and his friend went to a supermarket and stole some gum and stayed outside to play until 4 a.m. His mother was scared to death and actually looked for him with the police. X told them that he doesn't want to go back home. She then forced him to always go straight home after school, while all the other kids were allowed to play outside. The parents in the neighborhood told their kids to stay away from him, because they saw him as a problem child and a bad influence.
No.
So the
he
kid,
ain't no damn problem child. His goddamn mama goddamn problem. You know what I'm saying? That shit crazy, bro. Maybe we wouldn't got the if you didn't go through these trial tribulations, maybe we wouldn't got the DMX we got. But at the beginning though, that motherfucker say the little 30-year-old dude had laced the blunt with crack. Oh my god. And he was a child. Oh my god, bro. That goddamn fucked me up right there. What's up, bro? How you doing, bro? That shit fucked up, bro.
Distanced themselves from him. And the only ones who were still hanging out with him were either homeless or had irresponsible parents who didn't care about them. The best time for X was when they paid his grandmother a visit, cause his mom couldn't beat him in front of her, and he was also safe from her boyfriends. He was also allowed to play outside. No strict rules, and finally someone that showed him love and care. That's why he later made songs dedicated to his grandma. In 5th grade, when he was 10, the beatings would get worse. He would come to school with a busted lip and bruises all over his body. The school nurse pulled up his shirt and saw all the bruises on his back and arm. There were marks going down the back of his legs. That's when the court started talking about taking him away. But his mother would say that if he just stopped being bad, she wouldn't have to punish him so much. So it was suggested that she takes him to a child psychologist. But they barely made any progress because X refused to talk to him. By the end of 5th grade, he was fighting all the kids at school, throwing chairs at teachers. He didn't care about anything, so he took it as far as possible. The judge then told his mother that since she was incapable of keeping him out of trouble, the courts had to intervene, and so he was sent to Julia Dykeman Andrews Children's Home, which is a school dormitory facility about 20 minutes away from their apartment. The term was 18 months, and it marked
the child bad. Big Pun shit. I think Big Pun shit worse though. When we get in after this, we get into Big Pun. I think Big Pun shit worse, but damn, never know what motherfucker going through, boy. Word. He got me stunned. I don't even know what to say, Chad. I'm sad by just hearing the shit. What his mama been doing is beating the hell out of him. You know what I'm saying? Like damn.
Beginning of his incarceration. There he got into a fight with a Chinese kid after setting the basement floor on fire, thinking that burning a blue can of paint would turn the room blue. The floor turned black and the fire wouldn't stop burning. 24 hours later, after the building almost burned down, X was charged with arson and thrown into the youth division of Yonkers jail. The Chinese kid got away, and that's why X attacked him. The kid's parents pressed charges on him for assault, and it was decided that X was no longer fit to be part of the normal school population. He was forced to move out of his room and for the rest of the term live in the school infirmary. He was no longer permitted to take classes with the other kids or to eat meals with them. He wasn't allowed to spend time with anyone. Shortly afterwards, they moved him into an unused office where he had to stay during school hours. After about a week, X had enough. They didn't let him do or eat what he wanted. Forced to being locked in, alone for many hours without anyone to talk to, watching the kids play outside while he's locked up all alone without anything to do. The next time...
What we thinking, Che? This shit sad as fuck, man. This shit sad as fuck. This shit here, my little hard, bro. I don't know what the fuck to say. Damn, bro. Now when I listen to DMX, his goddamn his song shit gonna hit different for me. I don't know about y'all. They motherfucker gonna hit different for me, twin. Like damn, bro. Like he can't catch a break and nothing, bro. Like mama went on drugs and they're like, why she just beating the hell out of him? You know what I'm saying?
His mother came up for a visit. He told her how they were punishing him and begged her to let him leave. I'm not going to uphold you in your wrongdoing, Earl. You made your bed, so now you have to lay on it. X started to feel like a caged animal, trapped. There was nothing he could do or say to get out of that office. According to X, that's when his anger issues got out of control. I began to listen to my instincts and my anger started to explode. Not only did I stop giving a F about everyone and everything around me, I began to believe all the bad that was ever said about me. Earl is manipulative. Earl is a problem. Earl has made his bed hard. And I swore that I would have the last laugh. From that point on, people started to call him Crazy Earl. Those 18 months he spent at the children's home gave him a rap in the neighborhood. And X made sure that he lived up to that reckless reputation. He would put rocks inside of snowballs and throw them at strangers for no reason. Rob people and knock out kids for fun. But that would oftentimes make him end up in the youth division of Yonkers City Jail, where anyone under the age of 17 gets held until a parent comes to pick them up. X was 7 years old the first time he was there, busted for shoplifting out of a supermarket. And every time his mom came to pick him up, she would start beating him in front of the officers, who would advise her to punish him at home and not in public.
We need lock. Go ahead. I'm go ahead and say anybody else. We need lock your mama up. Ain't no lie, bro. You know what I'm saying? Need lock her ass up. She ain't worth a fuck. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? What the grandma at? I know grandma loved him. Like, what the grandma doing? Usually grandma come get you. All this shit going on. You know what I'm saying?
After coming home, he tried to stay at his grandmother's house as much as possible to avoid the drama with his mother and her boyfriends. She had given away some of X's favorite toys with the reasoning that he doesn't play with them anymore, even though he didn't really have a chance to play with them since he was forced to stay at the children's home. So by the time he got back, his mom gave away his toys, and now X had even less reasons to stay there, especially with his mother's boyfriend Richie the mailman around, who his mother tried to motivate into teaching X a lesson, not just verbally but also physically. But by this point, he wasn't 8 anymore. He started to fight back. "No, man, no, get away from me. You ain't my father." He was tired of being nervous and scared around him. "F you." Richie was supposedly shocked. "What did you say to me?" "F you." This resulted in a screaming match, but he supposedly managed to avoid a beating. But now his mom started to punish him in different ways, by forcing him to stay in his room, at first for a weekend, then for a week, and after that for a whole month, taking away his toys, not allowing him to watch TV or play with his sister, forced to be alone with nothing but food and water, staring at the walls, studying the cracks in it, peeling the paint off the ceiling and scratching the walls. Being alone with nothing to do was really tough on him, since boredom was the thing that he hated the most. It made him get out of control at school and at the children's home, which had introduced him to this kind of isolation, which forced him to be stuck with nothing but his thoughts and fantasies, cause all he could do is think and entertain himself by fantasizing. After leaving the children's home, he was forced to go to a progressive school on the rich side of town. There were only 2 black kids in the entire school, and he only lasted 2 weeks there. The vice principal put him in a cab and let him drive to the girlfriend of his Aunt Vern, who's called Paula. Soon as he got there, Paula hit him with a big wooden billy club, breaking
I heard
it.
that name before, Paula. Where did I hear that shit from? I heard the name Paula. Do you have that shit in the movie? One of the DMX movie? They said Paula. I heard that shit somewhere. I don't know why. Paula. I want to say Billy, but I mean that other movie, but it's not that.
On his head. The whole family felt like X needed more discipline. He tried to run away, but she followed him, hitting him in the face repeatedly. And X tried to block the hits with his hands. She hit him so hard and so many times that the wood started splintering off the club. By the time she noticed she went too far, the carpet was covered in blood and wood splinters. His elbow had swollen so large that it looked like it had a big salt ball on it.
Damn.
The only person who had a problem with him getting beaten was his grandmother, who started lecturing them for not taking care of him and putting his life in danger. In 1981, when X was about 10, his mother grounded him for an entire summer. He didn't even know what he did wrong. There were also times where she just beat him without hearing him out, accusing him of doing things he didn't do, not wanting to hear him explain and not wanting to believe him, according to X. One time she gave him a beating in the kitchen in front of the stove.
I don't want nobody going no foster home. You know what I'm saying? But shit, I think he had a better damn chance. Like, god damn. God, you hate his daddy that much? God damn.
With a thick wooden spoon over his head, he kept
though.
saying, I didn't do it, but she didn't care. If he tried running away or accused her of lying, she would chase after him and continue the beating. Sometimes she would say, well, next time say that, after beating him before hearing his explanation. And X would always tell her that he did say it repeatedly, but it never mattered. At one point, X got too fast for his mother to catch up, so she would start beating him in the middle of the night while he was in the bed, pulling up the covers from the bottom, sitting on his back and slapping his behind, which would wake him up and pull him out of his dreams. He then tried sleeping on his back so that she can't hit his behind.
Shit, let her try this shit 2026. Your ass going to jail. Back then, you get your ass whipped back then, but now, your ass going to goddamn jail, nigga. They ain't playing that shit these times. Your ass going to jail.
But then she would just hit his chest, causing him to have an asthma attack. Ma, stop, please, I can't breathe. No, Mama, no, I can't breathe. Well, when I get finished whipping your behind, then I'll take you to the emergency room for your asthma. And that's exactly what she did. After she was done, she'd call a cab and take him to the hospital, so that they could put him on a breathing machine. Things got so bad that he began to contemplate his mother's murder. He was always isolated in his room, left alone with his dark and deep thoughts. Night after night, he would think the act all the way through, play the steps over and over in his mind. First go in the living room, then kick her in the stomach and make sure that she falls out of the window. Then all of my pain would be over. But X would always feel bad for her, even while having these dark thoughts, which made him know that he didn't really want to kill her. He was just mad at her. He still loved her and knew that he could never hurt her. He just wanted her to be there for him and show love and care, just like his grandmother would. At age 13, he would run away from home and sleep on the streets just to get some breathing space from his mother. Earl, where have you been? I ran away, Mama. But you got a bed right here. You made me worried sick. Home was the last place he wanted to be. She refused to let him live with his grandmother. So he took to the streets. No money and no plans of going to school. It was cold, so he would crawl into clothing bins outside the Salvation Army in Getty Square. It was the warmest place he could find, and his mother never looked for him. She felt that if
anybody ever ran from home, y'all probably know the feeling, that shit. I don't did that shit before too, and I was young too. Ran away home, sleep outside. Not a good feeling. Cold as hell. Not a good feeling. Mama won't let you back inside. I don't been through that shit before.
X wanted to stay lost, there was nothing she could do about it. Why are you doing this to yourself? She asked him after X managed to survive a couple of days on his own. And why do you look like that? It's cold out there. Well, it serves you right, Earl. You should have come home. While he was outside, he found a beat-up stray dog and tried to take it home. But some of the kids in the neighborhood kicked it and made it run away. He never saw him again. But from that point on, he would bring home dogs and turn them into his pets. It was against the rules of the building they lived in to own pets, so his mother was against him bringing home dogs and letting them stay with him. She tried to get rid of them one by one, but X would sneak them back in while she was at work, hiding the pets under his bed. But one of the dogs gave birth to puppies.
This a video, a music video? What music video is this?
So X took them to the roof. The building they lived in had 12 floors, and they lived on floor 11. So he could easily go up to the roof and spend time with his dogs. He would leave them there overnight with a pillow and blanket. X realized that he could get along with dogs better than with humans. So they became his best friends. It seemed the more love I gave them, the more love they gave me back. And dogs didn't know betrayal. All I had to do was hug them, feed them, and I knew I didn't have to worry about a thing. Because as soon as that roof door started to crack, my dog would growl and start to protect me. It was the same way on the streets. Once I got a dog to trust me, he was loyal to me and wouldn't let any harm come my way. When X was 13 in 1984, his mother took him to visit Children's Village School for Boys, where she dropped him off without warning, forcing him to live at a group home.
They told me that if I didn't find a place for you, the judge did, that they was going to take you and put you where they wanted to put you. They told me to pack you a bag, and I had nothing to say about it.
You can't leave me. You know what I mean? Like,
Damn.
we came here. I'm supposed to go home. And then you just left.
And I heard you. Ma, don't leave me. Where you going? And they said, Miss Simmons, don't look back. Keep going. You're just gonna make it harder for him. And so I kept going.
Right then and there, I learned to just put away, conceal, bury, whatever bothered me, and store it. I think another side of me was born right there. The side that enabled me to protect myself. Don't worry about it. I got you now.
He decided the only way to cope was to stay to himself, spending his free time at the library. Reading was salvation for him, and he enjoyed his time away from his mother. But he still missed his dogs, which were trapped on the roof without food or water.
Damn.
X would soon revert to his old habits, starting fights with people and causing trouble with the teachers with his constant complaining about the rules and regulations. But around Thanksgiving of '84, meaning after 6 months at Children's Village, his stubbornness started to fade away, and he became homesick. He wanted to see his dogs and get a couple of new ones. They actually allowed kids to return to their families for Thanksgiving, so X was excited. But his mother didn't allow him to come back. There's a family emergency. Earl is not going to be able to come back home today. But he's all packed and the bus is already here to take him, Mrs. Simmons. Your son has been anticipating this trip for a long time, they told her. I'm sorry, but when I say my son can't come home, he can't come home. She never gave an explanation.
She the worst mother I ever knew. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Like X can't catch a break or nothing, man. Like, damn. I thought he gonna get there, you know what I'm saying? Learn, you know what I'm saying? Get better. This shit, like, it getting worse and worse, check.
X got angry and started throwing things, cause only he and the orphan kids didn't get to go home. '84 was the year that X fell in love with hip-hop and started rapping.
84?
The kids would bring their boombox down to the common room and turn on the radio, where they would occasionally play music with a hard enough bass line for them to spit a rhyme off the top. At first, X would just stand to the side and jam to the music, while other kids freestyle battled to see who's the illest. X didn't want to feel left out, so the first weekend he was allowed back to Yonkers, he made sure to stay up and tape record Mr. Magic's Rap Attack show off the radio. The night X was taping, he heard Houdini's 5 Minutes of Funk for the first time and got an idea. He basically memorized the entire second verse of that song and took it back to Children's Village, pretending that those lines are his. Everyone gave him props and hip-hop only grew since then. X would notice people breakdancing, tagging on a wall, rhyming, DJing or b-boying, and X loved it. He taught himself how to beatbox and became the partner of a rapper called Ready Ron.
For all my people born in the 80s, people really out there breakdancing and stuff on cardboard and shit. Let me know.
Who was more than 10 years older than him. But in order for him to be Ready Ron's beatboxer, he needed a name. DMX was the name of one of the best early drum machines a lot of the kids were using. And since he felt he was nice with the beats, he took that.
So that's where he got a name from, DMX. Okay, we found out where he got a name. Okay.
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
Okay, we found out where he got DMX from. Okay.
So he changed his nickname from Crazy Earl to DMX the Beatbox Enforcer. Ready Ron was something like an older brother to him, someone he idolized. He would encourage X to start rapping himself, while Ron did the beatboxing for him. He's the reason why X took rapping so seriously.
What's the little the movie? I know they made like two of them. When they all on breakdancing with the white girl. I know my teacher made me look at that shit one time. What's the movie where they breakdancing? I forgot that. I think one of them name was Turbo or something like that. He was black. He was Turbo. You know, it was a white girl. I think she was a ballerina or something at first. Then it was a light skinned dude. We had the Michael Jackson jacket. Something like that. I can't remember the name of the movie. I gotta find that movie.
Himself how to beatbox and became the partner of a rapper called Ready Ron, who was more than 10 years older than him. But in order for him to be Ready Ron's beatboxer, he needed a name. DMX was the name of one of the best early drum machines a lot of the kids were using. And since he felt he was nice with the beats, he took that.
Oh no, yeah, my bad. I gotta find. I've been trying to find this movie forever. I seen it when I was in kindergarten. My teacher. I liked that movie too. I know they had 2 on. It's called what? Breaking and Beat. Yeah, this it. Yeah. This it right here. Yeah. Okay. Well, I got a little chill. I gotta watch this movie. Yeah, this is chat. They got 2 on, don't it? I think it's 1 and 2. This the first one. The motherfucker was dancing on him. I like Turbo. That motherfucker got there. That motherfucker kill that shit. Where I can watch it at? I'm about to watch this shit. Soon as I get off stream, I ain't gonna lie. I've been trying to find this shit for 10, 20 years. I've been trying to find this shit. Oh, it's on Tubi? Oh, they don't fuck though. It's on Tubi. Yeah, alright, bet. It's on Tubi. Hold on, y'all got some more? Hold on. Let me say that, cause I remember that shit. What it's called? Electric. They got more than 1 movie? Oh, Lord. What they doing? Oh, they do got another one. Ooh. I thought they just had that one. Yeah, they my boy right here. It's Turbo. My boy right there. That motherfucker. Damn. Okay, y'all put me on. I gotta say this, y'all. What's up, Beats? How you doing?
Another one.
So this not part. So this not breaking into 2? Hold on, I'm confused. So this a whole different movie? Who the fuck? Electric Boom now. Oh, they got all my goddamn top. I'm confused, y'all. So is it Breaking 2 or is it his own movie? Okay, them 2. So what's that? What's the electro then? What's the electro dead thing? We all off topic and shit. I'm check it out. I'm watching that motherfucking night. Shit, they make me want to get a little Jerry Curl. You know what I'm saying? All right, but we found out DMX. This is DMX. How DMX got his name. We're gonna go back a little bit.
Himself how to beatbox and became the partner of a rapper called Ready Ron, who was more than 10 years older than him. But in order for him to be Ready Ron's beatboxer, he needed a name. DMX was the name of one of the best early drum machines a lot of the kids were using. And since he felt he was nice with the beats, he took that. So he changed his nickname from Crazy Earl to DMX the Beatbox Enforcer. Ready Ron was something like an older brother to him, someone he idolized. He would encourage X to start rapping himself, while Ron did the beatboxing for him. He's the reason why X took rapping so seriously. In fall of '85, when he was 14, he was released from Children's Village after 18 months. His mother was hesitant about having him home again, but she knew that if she didn't take him back now, she would lose him forever. This was her last opportunity to have a relationship with him, cause he hadn't been home much since he was 10. First thing he did when he came home is to look for a new dog. He stole one from a junkyard and called him Blackie, for which he later had to serve a couple of months in the juvenile unit of Woodfield Prison in Valhalla, New York. His mother still didn't want any dogs in the house, so when she kicked Blackie out, X left with him and went straight to the roof. This time he decided to sleep there with his dog by getting more pillows and blankets. He was the love and affection and companionship I needed, and now he was mine. I knew that I would never be alone again. He then went to Yonkers High School, which was the baddest school in the city, according to X. There, his biggest concern wasn't the classes, but the fact that he was broke and hungry, looking ragged and poor, unable to keep up with the flyest people in school, watching people eat while he was hungry. Neither his mother nor his grandmother could give him money, so he decided to get it by all means necessary, by doing robberies. His first victim was a lady walking out of a supermarket. X was hiding in the bushes and then jumped out, snatching her pocketbook and then running off. She had over $1,000 in her purse. He spent some of that money to buy himself some clothes and shoes, but also a leather collar for his dog Blackie. During lunchtime at school, he would buy himself big turkey sandwiches just like everyone else, showing them that he can keep up with them and doesn't need much to succeed. After school, he would get back to...
Damn turkey sandwich, say you like. You know what I'm saying? Peanut butter and turkey sandwich. Shit. Hell yeah. A lot of people don't like turkey sandwich though. Y'all be tripping. I'm gonna say turkey sandwich, say you, bro.
Robbing people. And at one point he even started robbing kids at school. Sometimes he would use his dog to intimidate and bite people. He even trained them to grab other people's belongings and then run off. According to X, robbing people gave him strength and confidence. He'd rob 3 times a day. Before school, after school, and on the late night. Even formed a robbery crew with 2 partners called Nick and Reg. He would skip school and care more about money, looks, and validation than his academic future. In December '85, when X was just about to turn 15, he tried the drug mescaline for the first time.
What it is?
His friend Reg encouraged him to drink.
What's that? Drug? Hold on now. What it called? What the fuck is that? I gotta go back. Oh, here you go.
Time.
Drug what? Research. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I don't know. I'll research that shit. You know what I'm saying? Hit a Google quick. Hold on, drug. What the fuck is that? Masking. Fuck is that? Do we got? Hey, this motherfucker put up the damn hospital. I know you fucking lying. No, there's another. I'm gonna make y'all see that. Lord have mercy. I don't know what this shit mean, but this shit like goddamn do some damage to you. This it? Like a damn titty. You know what I mean? Just like an ugly titty. You know what? Well, I don't know what it is, but alright. He trying that shit at 15?
His friend Reg encouraged him to drink a beer right after. That night they robbed the woman and almost got caught by DMX's mother, who saw the robbery happen but didn't recognize him. She called for help the moment X ran away. Shortly after that, when X was still 14, his mentor Reddy Ron, who was almost 30 at this point, introduced him to something that ended up ruining his life and destroying his spirit. Until then, he would drink 40s, smoke weed, and experiment with drugs like mescaline. But then Ron spoke of the great high X could get from what they call a wooly, the new thing on the block. A wooly is a blunt laced with crack cocaine. X was still a kid. He didn't tell him how differently it affected his life. He didn't tell him of the war that he would have to fight to kill the desire for one of the most addictive drugs in the world. He didn't tell him how quickly it would ruin what little was left of his relationship with his mother, sisters, and even uncles. He had no idea how much.
See, that's why you can't smoke. That's why I stopped smoking all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Hell nah. You kid that with that, what the kid called that loud? God damn. Fuck my damn nose over. Y'all coming up. Like, god damn, man. Oh Lord. Wooly is a blunt with, okay.
She would have to suffer from that point on.
Okay.
Not knowing how strong it was. And that it would end up taking his life decades later.
But this guy, man, this guy, This guy, he introduced me to what would be the best part of my life, which would be the rap. But he also, the theme of my life is blessed with the curse. And the curse aspect of it was, like I said, I didn't smoke cigarettes, I didn't smoke weed, I didn't do anything. I'm 14 years old. And me and my man do a robbery one night, and it was his birthday, and we came back, we split the money. I said, hey, take this, go get something nice for your birthday, whatever. So he came back with a blunt rolled up. And as I'm counting the money, he lights the blunt. And I said, I was impressed. I don't really smoke, I got it. And he passed the blunt around, and wow. And I had the blood, and I'm like, I was no longer focused on the money. I never felt like it just off me up. I'm like, the fuck? And, I later found out that he laced the blood with crack. With my tape. Why would you do that to a child?
Right.
Yeah.
Like 30, you know what I'm saying? And he knew how I looked up to him. He knew how I looked up to him, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
some
And
evil in him, man. And worry
why
about
would you do that to somebody who looks up to you? Like, I mean?
That's fucked up.
Take your time, brother.
The monster was born.
I know, cause I'm from South Carolina, right? We used to see DMX. We used to see DMX a lot though, but he always get locked up and shit. See that? You know, we a little small town and shit, so we know everybody know everything. So, like DMX got locked up again, doing crazy though. He was smoking it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I been hearing, but I ain't know why though. You know what I'm saying? Now I know why. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
The monster was born. I mean, and that's I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I mean, as I said, especially to someone that you supposedly love.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
How you doing? How you doing?
X
man?
was now doing even more robberies to buy himself crack cocaine. So he didn't just do it to buy himself food and to stay alive. He would rarely come home and live in the streets or in the park. During his worst days, when he ran out of money, he would be forced to go back home to his mother and sisters. But he always tried to avoid letting them see him in that state, cause he had turned into an addict, a junkie. What made his drug problem even worse was the death of his dog Blackie, which happened in 1986 when X was 15. The police shot and killed his dog after X and Blackie chased someone for being disrespectful. The dog was shot after struggling to calm him down, upset because the police tried to arrest DMX. So now there was no reason for him to sleep on the roof. He actually never went back there because it reminded him too much of his dog. He would sell coats in his mother's closet, sweaters from his sisters, or his old clothes in his room. Anything that would get him closer to the next high. Giving people VHS tapes, shoes, sneakers, and even giant-sized bottles of bleach or laundry detergent, all as a payment for drugs. A week after Blackie's murder, he walked into the lunchroom of Yonkers High School with a sawed-off shotgun taped to his leg. The gun came from the floor up to his knee, so it made him walk with a limp, like he was crippled. He didn't care about going to jail, he didn't care about dying, he didn't care about living, and he also didn't care about his mother finding out about his robbing and stealing. Wasn't ashamed of it. If she was home the times he walked in the house with someone's pocketbook, he told her the truth. I needed some money. I was hungry. To it.
It's crazy out. See? It's crazy, bro. A fucked up home can lead you to all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Damn. He like, I'm trying to look at little hope. You know what I'm saying? I don't see no hope. It like it getting worse and worse. Lord have mercy. Jesus.
If she was home the times he walked in the house with someone's pocketbook, he told her the truth. I needed some money. I was hungry. To which she responded, as long as you tell the truth, Earl, I will always support you. But if you're not with me, I cannot say that I know what you've been doing. If you're not with me, I can never tell anyone that was not my child. So if the cops come saying you did something, Earl, I'm going to show them to your room. And that's exactly what happened. Cause less than 2 weeks after Blackie's death, the cops came knocking on the door and arrested him. He was facing a 2-year sentence and was sent to Industry Institution, which is a minimum security facility for juvenile offenders. It was now early December '86. X was just about to turn 16. He actually tried to escape in the middle of the night when the temperatures fell below freezing point. He and his partner knocked out one of the guards, but somehow the alarm went off and they sent dogs after him and his cellmate. In the woods it was pitch black, so they couldn't see the dogs, but they heard them barking behind them. One of the dogs bit X in the back of his leg. He fell face first onto the ground and then started fighting back, kicking the dog repeatedly. By the 4th time, the dog stopped barking and started whimpering. X was still on the ground, leg bleeding, but the dog wasn't going to bite him anymore. He and his partner walked for 3 more days. They were heading south towards west.
Bad, everyone the fuck out of him, bro. I agree with you, Ray. Then, that motherfucker was smart as hell, too, bro. Oof. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Shit, now I'm gonna have to put DMX. I'm gonna have to go listen to all his songs, though. What's a good album from DMX? I never listened to one of his albums before, so I'm gonna have to go sit there and listen to him now. I'm connecting, you know what I'm saying? That connection wise, you feel me? I feel the connection, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what type, what's one of his top albums I need to go listen to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna play this shit in the dark with some candles, you know what I'm saying, in my vape.
Cellmate lived. They didn't have anything proper to eat, no warm place to stay, avoiding the highways to avoid the cops. Then they finally reached the basement of X's cellmate's friend. He left X there and disappeared. The next morning, the owners of the basement took care of him and gave him something to eat. He stayed there for days and even spent his 16th birthday there. A couple days before New Year, the owner of the basement gave X money to get a bus back to New York. At around 3 a.m., he got back to his mother's apartment. His clothes were torn apart and the big gash on his leg, where the dog bit him, was now infected. The first thing his mother said when she opened the door was, "Well, look who it is. How did you get out, Earl?" X was taken aback. After everything he went through, he received such a cold reaction. How about "I'm happy to see you," or "Are you okay?" After greeting his sister, he immediately left and went to his grandmother's house. His grandma was happy to see him. She let him stay there until 3 days after New Year, cause that's when the cops knocked at her door, together with DMX's mother. His mother was arguing with his grandmother. "I know he's here. You just let him do anything he wants to do." "Well, I'm his mother." "It's better to do it like this, Earl," his mother told him. "Honey, this is all because of you, and you have to pay the consequences. The holidays are over. Now it's time for you to go back where you belong." He was facing 2 years, but his mother made it seem like he's only back for the holidays. His grandmother then told him, "Go back, baby. It's okay. We'll get you out," while looking at him and trying to smile. X told himself that he'd never forgive his mother for what she just did. The cops then cuffed him and brought him to McCormick Juvenile Institution instead of Industry. Unlike Industry, McCormick wasn't afraid of bars. There were gates and barbed wire fences everywhere and guards with guns, making sure that the inmates have no way to escape. While being locked up, X had a lot of time to think, especially about his career as a beatboxer. He asked himself, why am I letting Reddy Ron get all the attention? Cause he was just beatboxing for him, while Ron was the face of their crew. Every time they did a show, the girls were all over him. So he decided to become a rapper, starting to write rhymes while being locked up. He had brought a boombox with him, so he used it for background music and wrote about everything he knew. Yonkers, School Street, lockup, group home, robbing, stealing, running, hustling. It gave him a way to talk freely, gave him the tool to express all of the thoughts that had sat unheard in his brain since he was 7 years old. When X came home from McCormick in early '88, he was an MC by the name of DMX the Great. Yonkers High School shut down when X got locked up. turning it into a middle school for younger kids. If his mother had pressed the issue, X could have gone to a different high school, but it didn't happen. So X was technically done with school. He also felt like juvenile offenders like him weren't exactly welcome additions to a school population, especially when the new hobby was stealing cars. He was 17, about to turn 18 in a couple of months. His uncles brought him to a teenage refuge called Nappahan Community Center, where he would spend most of his time writing lyrics and reading books.
Okay.
But he would also cause a lot of trouble. They'd always kick him out, but X would return the next day doing the exact same thing, with them being unable to do anything about it. Every year, Yonkers sponsored an African American Heritage Day in Trevor Park, and the center would set up a stage where the kids could perform and show their talents. DMX was told to write a poem and competed with 12 other kids. He actually ended up winning the competition.
Okay.
They then set up a PA system in the parking lot, and X could perform one of his raps in front of a crowd full of teenagers and kids. He thought about using his talent to make money with rap music and to use it as a way to get out of the ghetto. But then he also had crazy ideas like opening up a sneaker shop and then selling drugs in it. He would boast about his plans and shock the head counselor, Mrs. Gaines, openly telling her that he's going to sell drugs. I'm gonna open me up a store and just go down to Manhattan and buy sneakers where they're cheaper. Then I will bring them back to Yonkers and the kids will buy them from me for whatever price I want. Mrs. Gaines then smiled and said, "That's a good idea, Earl. Then when I get everybody in the store, I could sell drugs in the back and make real money." Hearing that, Mrs. Gaines almost dropped her bag in disgust. "Why would you do that? Selling drugs is illegal, young man. What? It's not like I would have to hustle to find customers. They'd be coming to me. Earl, all that's going to happen with that plan is I'll have to end up visiting you in jail. So what? I'm probably going to end up there anyway. But I'm trying to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25, Mrs. Gaines."
Man.
"Oh really? Why do you want all that money, Earl?" "Mrs. Gaines, how much money do you make? That's not your business. You probably don't make no money, Mrs. Gaines." "Earl, I bet if I did my sneaker and drug thing, I could make more money in one night than you make in a week. But what good is that if you're in jail? 20 years from now, I bet you're probably going to be doing the same job, making the same money. You bust your butt from morning to night, and all you get is minimum wage."
Ah, damn, you know. Slow down. You just, hello, you just, I want to get off her. DMX get off her. Damn.
Mrs. Gaines couldn't stop laughing after that. Up until that point, robbing people was his way of getting money. Taking someone's jacket was a way of staying warm. It was a thrill for him, but he treated it almost like a job. Stealing cars, on the other hand, was different. He did it just for fun. He'd teach half the neighborhood how to do it, and everyone started stealing from each other. They even tried to steal DMX's stolen cars. The cops arrested him a couple of times, but they always let him go. There was one time when he got chased by the cops and tried to shake them off, but then went headfirst into one of the big brown telephone poles, crashing the car and escaping by foot, running through a forest. But there was this one time when the police took him to the station and questioned him about the stolen cars, because they caught him buying alcohol even though he wasn't old enough. They pretended to take him to the store so that he can point out the guy that sold it to him. So he jumped in the car and they took him directly to the station, asking him about the stolen cars. One of X's partners actually snitched on him and pointed him out. During that time, X was on probation, trying to avoid trouble with the cops. But now, after the arrest for carjacking, X became a convicted felon. He was sent to the farm, which is the minimum security division of Suffolk County Correctional Facility in Long Island.
It's like X can't get a damn breakthrough, bro. Like, damn, I'm trying to wait for the breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Ooh, he stressed me the fuck out. God damn. I don't thought he made it back then, but all that shit you went through. You know what I'm saying?
There, X and his people forced the white guy to get his sister to smuggle some weed in, which X wanted to sell to get enough money to pay someone for sex inside the jail cell. But he never got the chance to do it, because the white guy informed the guards and they sent the riot squad, locking down the whole mod. tossing and strip searching everybody. They were now on the way to the big house, charged with extortion. So he was transferred to the main unit. There he was able to write more and more songs, rhyme after rhyme, producing pages of lyrics. After 2 weeks in the hole, he was transferred out of the lockdown block into the minors. There he received a terrible beatdown after one of the guards told him that the shower is over. X spit in his eye.
What is Dominican? Shout out to my Dominican people. I hope I enjoyed it.
Another one. Another one.
Give me a hell yeah. What?
I still gotta learn Dominican, my Spanish.
And then got jumped by 5 members of the riot squad in full battle gear. This was also around the time he met the rapper K Solo, who was locked up with him. They rap battled for over 45 minutes, and there was no clear-cut winner, until X spit one of his new verses he wrote for a song called Breaking It Down. K Solo supposedly admitted defeat after that, and they never battled again. But they would hang around together and had a cool relationship while they were locked up. The victory gave X confidence. He couldn't wait to get back to Yonkers and show everybody his rapping skills. Within 24 hours of getting released, X saw the guy that snitched on him and punched him in the face. The guy then called his crew for backup, and X got into a brawl with him. And this of course led to another arrest. Every time X got locked up, he would write lyrics, and it would increase his resolve to do music. X then came home in summer of '88. He was determined not to get in legal trouble again. He had about 15 to 20 songs written. His plan was to make his own mixtapes and sell them on the streets to make money. For that, he not only needed a DJ but also a microphone and a pair of turntables. He quickly found what he was looking for and recorded his first cassette tape. He then sold copies of it for $5, and it was a success. He not only made a name for himself in the streets, but also got enough money to quit robbing people.
Finally, we get something good.
Another one. Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
Finally. What's up?
What?
He would even battle people to show off his skills and make them buy his tapes. Battling made me feel powerful. Like my rap skills were grenades in my pocket that I could throw at any time. I just wanted to finish everybody, shut down every MC I came across, and make them want to give up rhyming for good. But then he had to go back to jail once again for 90 days. In 1989, he then recorded songs together with Lord Kaysan, who had his own microphone and tape deck in his apartment. That's where they made the song Spellbound, which he supposedly used against K Solo during their battle in jail. And over time, his songwriting ability and flow got better and better. He released more and more underground tapes to make a name for himself and build a reputation. One day when he was battling at a club, he got approached by a talent scout called Jack McNasty, who was looking for new rap acts. He was managing rappers like Biz Markie, Just Ice, Big Daddy Kane, and some other big names in hip-hop. So X accepted the offer to work with him. And a few months later, Jack McNasty invited X to move into his house in New Rochelle. He thought it would be a good idea for X to be closer to the recording studio. And he also hoped that living together would help him keep an eye on him, to help keep him out of trouble. He wasn't even going to charge him any rent, at least not until they made some money. He recorded more tapes and songs, like Three Little Pigs and Creativity. Jack then took 3 of X's best songs and sent it to different record labels and magazines to get him a deal.
Have anybody heard the Three Little Pigs? Wait, the song he just talking about. Hey, anybody heard them? Is they still up? Can we find them on YouTube? Let me know.
In July 1990, X went to a talent conference called New Music Seminar on 99th Street and Amsterdam Avenue, which was very influential in the hip-hop world at the time.
Now I'm curious now. Why the fuck is I'm on Bling? Nobody use Bling. DMX. Oh yeah, it's on YouTube too. Okay, but it's on Reddit. Hold on, it's on Reddit. We probably find it on YouTube. Yeah. Bet. I'm listening to that shit. I wish I could listen to y'all right now on live. I'm on YouTube, so y'all know how that shit go.
Because it was supported by the major record labels and attended by different kinds of people from all over the country who were just hungry to get into hip-hop. X battled multiple people and won round after round, and in the end he won the award for Best Rapper. Jack McNasty then had some good news for him. One of the first places he sent X's demo to was the hip-hop magazine The Source, and they wanted to interview him for Unsigned Hype.
Ooh, it'd be a nice battle rap. Biggie versus DMX. Who you think win? I'm right there in the chat. Who you think win battle rap? Biggie versus DMX. We learned I just learned that he can battle rap. So who you think win? Biggie versus DMX. Who will win in the battle rap, y'all? I'm gonna put it in the chat. Y'all think Biggie will eat him up? Might want about. Y'all let me know who y'all think win though.
And in the end, he won the award for Best Rapper. Jack McNasty then had some good news for him. One of the first places he sent X's demo to was the hip-hop magazine The Source, and they wanted to interview him for Unsigned Hype. DMX the Great was about to be known as the best unsigned rapper in the country. The Source had a new artist column they ran every month called Unsigned Hype, and X was later featured on the January '91 issue. But before that, on November 16th, 1990, he battled the biggest rapper in Yonkers at the time, called Bill Blass. It was a prize fight at Madison Square Garden, and X ended up winning. His victory got everyone talking. People immediately wanted a rematch, which X agreed to, destroying Bill Blass once again and ending his career. His manager McNasty hooked him up with a lot of shows and producers, but signing the paperwork supposedly kept him broke for a long time, because he was responsible for all his expenses and studio costs, while Jack made a percentage of the money that was coming in. And X was terrible at managing his finances, especially with him spending so much money on crack cocaine.
Know people, cause who y'all pick? Jay-Z, Biggie, DMX. You need somebody else. Who's other? I want to say Wu-Tang too. Wu-Tang. We gonna say Wu-Tang. Between them four. Well, you can't count Wu-Tang. It was like, how many Wu-Tang members? Ask them motherfuckers. We gonna say Jay-Z, Biggie, and DMX. All them three. We gonna say them three. Who y'all think better? I don't listen. Me personally, I don't listen to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know I don't like Biggie like that, but I'm going with DMX. So.
Okay. He had been addicted to it for years, and he never got.
I got SS and Toshion in the background. I got Tupac. I'm gonna put DMX in the background. So next stream, y'all, my next stream tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna see DMX in the background. We gonna put him on the wall because I'm gonna be listening to him for now on.
Got over it until the day he died. Jack tried to get him signed to a label by going from one company to another, but everyone felt like he wasn't marketable and his voice was too rough. They also wanted him to be a dancer. This frustrated him. No one wanted to sign him, but everyone wanted to mold him into something that he didn't want to be. He also started to argue with the people he was working with. He even stole from them to make up for all the money he had to spend while earning little to nothing, stealing the chain of the rapper Top Quality, who Jack was managing. TQ was one of the rappers X battled a couple months earlier, and in retaliation he called his homies to get X jumped. DMX supposedly stood his ground and actually managed to do some damage, which is why they called the cops on him. Later that night, X, his cousins, uncle and aunt all got arrested after 6 police cars pulled up to his grandmother's house. By this point, he was used to getting locked up every other month, used to sleeping on hard surfaces, eating rotten foods, accepting the dirty loneliness. In jail, X found out that K Solo had released a song called Spellbound, using the same style and lyrics X used during their battle. They both accused each other of biting, claiming that they were the ones coming up with the lyrics. That was the start of DMX's first beef. A couple weeks later, X's manager paid $2,500 bond to get him out of jail. But working with Jack didn't help him to advance in his career. So he signed a management deal with the then unknown record label Rough Riders Entertainment.
There you go.
Later that year in '91, Columbia Records signed him to its subsidiary labels Chaos Records and Rough House Records, which released his major debut single Born Loser on September 16, 1992 as a cassette. He performed it a couple months before the release at the New Music Seminar 1992, which took place on June 17th. X had his first child, Xavier Simmons, in December '92, and then in '93 his song Born Loser got re-released as a proper 12-inch single. But X felt that Rough House didn't put enough marketing power behind it, so not enough people heard it. Failing to meet commercial projections and not reaching any music charts, he was then terminated from his one-song contract with Rough House, becoming an independent artist. In spring '93, DMX performed at Drexel College in Philadelphia, the same city his father moved to when he abandoned X more than 15 years ago. They were actually able to meet at a hotel. X was very disappointed when he saw what had become of the man he used to idolize. My father was standing in the lobby. He was wearing 4 different pairs of leg warmers, red and white stripes, purple, green and orange. All of them were in different lengths. He also had on a pair of tan corduroy pants that were tucked inside the leg warmers, with a tan corduroy jacket with elbow patches, and he had dreadlocks. My father walked over to give me a hug. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This was the man I had wondered about my whole life? This was the man who took me downtown as a boy and made me feel special? The man who left my mom's for a white woman and skipped town? 4 different pairs of leg warmers? What's up, Earl? How are you doing? Are you taking care of yourself? You got a lawyer? Those were the first words to me after all these years. Are you taking care of yourself? How about I love you, or I miss you, or you look good?
Yeah.
His cold, judgmental attitude cut through me, scolding without even knowing. That was not what I wanted to hear. Are you getting things right? It didn't take me long to not like him. Now, I know that I didn't try very hard either, but I was the child. I was the one who had suffered for years from the choices he had made, and I didn't feel like talking. I wasn't the one who left. Within 5 minutes, our conversation was over, and after more than 15 years being without him, my father was gone again. Shortly after his trip to Philly, X was sentenced to 1.5 years of solitary confinement for spitting in the face of a captain. He was back in Valhalla Correctional Facility.
Damn, bro.
They put him in lockdown block 3K.
Damn.
That was his home for almost a year.
Shit.
After his release in '94, he tried working a regular 9-to-5 job, but it never worked out. First, he worked at the post office in White Plains. It didn't last 1 week. Another time, he got a demolition job in a warehouse and had to spend 10 hours knocking down walls and breaking up stoves and radiators. After 3 weeks, his boss laid him off because he was the youngest guy in the crew. He was still broke and dealing with addiction, but had to worry about his girlfriend Tashira and his son Xavier. Trying to make money by all means necessary, but preferably without getting locked up again. In spring '94, he gave up on finding a job and started selling mixtapes again. His grandmother was proud of him. When he showed her his single Born Loser, he always brought his son over to see her. But then in July '94, she was admitted to the hospital for cancer treatment. Since she was looking after him his entire life, X felt like it was now his turn to return the favor. Most afternoons, he would sit by her bedside for as long as the doctors would allow him. But then on September 21st, 1994, she passed away. She never got to see X become the legend he is today. DMX wanted to die with her, because she was one of the only people in the world who truly loved and cared for him. He didn't have a father or a mother in his life anymore. And now with his grandma gone, it was like he didn't have any more parental figures left anymore. He never got to resolve his mommy issues, and never knew what it's like to have a father in your life. That same year in '94, X moved to Baltimore, since the owners of Rough Riders Entertainment, with whom he was close, set up shop in Maryland. X wasn't
I
a
shout out about Baltimore. Baltimore be having some of the legends come through. Shout out to Baltimore.
hustler, but he gave it a shot. So they started selling drugs to make money. The city inspired him a lot and shaped him as an artist, cause his writing skills improved dramatically. He wrote the iconic songs Coming From, Let Me Fly and X Is Coming, some of his best tracks. He got better and better day by day, and his lyrics became more emotional and introspective. That was around the time when the West Coast label Death Row Records attempted to sign him in a joint venture with Rough Riders. The label boss
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
Ooh, X and goddamn Tupac together. Oh my God. Lord Jesus. What happened between? I don't know. We ain't gonna want. Hold on, boy. Yeah, my boy Pac in here. Hold on, man. I'm expecting that. They go a real one. You know what I'm saying?
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
Yeah, the green bandana. I ain't never seen Tupac with a green bandana. Damn, I ain't know he wore that shit.
The label boss Suge Knight flew out DMX and the
For all
Rough
the
Riders
pictures
to
I've
the West
seen.
Coast for a meeting. After hours of negotiations, it was clear that X was not going to join them. But he still believed that one day he'd be a star, so he kept sharpening his skills and reaching out to other labels. One day they called X to come to New York to support his Rough Riders label mates Harlem Nights, who were battling the group Original Flavor in a pool hall on 145th Street in South Bronx. X drove all the way back to New York for the battle. Original Flavor was connected to a rapper called Jay-Z, who was there as a backup for them. X was supposed to be the backup for Harlem Nights.
I think we did
The
break.
rap legend
My
Big
bad, y'all.
L was
Would y'all like to see battle raps on here? Like one day we have a stream with just straight battle rap. We need to bring that old hip hop back. Y'all want straight? Let me know. I'm gonna do a post. Y'all want to see battle rap? I know they got something on YouTube. Y'all want to see straight battle rap? Bring the old hip hop back for all my old people in the stream and shit. Let me know.
star, so he kept sharpening his skills and reaching out to other labels. One day they called X to come to New York to support his Rough Riders label mates Harlem Nights, who were battling the group Original Flavor in a pool hall on 145th Street in South Bronx. X drove all the way back to New York for the battle. Original Flavor was connected to a rapper called Jay-Z, who was there as a backup for them. X was supposed to be the backup for Harlem Nights. The rap legend Big L was there too that night, videotaping the event. At this point in time, neither Jay nor X had an album out. They were just getting started. It was around 1 AM and the crowd was thick. Jay and X weren't supposed to battle. They were just chilling on the side. But when things started to get nasty and both sides started dissing each other, the crowd started motivating Jay and X to battle. The people knew that those two were the top dogs of their crews.
Who y'all going with? Jay-Z, or goddamn DMX? Who y'all going with? Jay-Z versus DMX. Who y'all going with?
And they wanted them to go at it. They both climbed on top of a pool table, and Jay stood in front of him starting to rap right away. The crowd went crazy. Then it was X's turn, and the two went back and forth for almost an hour, aggressively spitting rhymes into each other's faces. According to X, it was very close. Both sides claimed that they won, and the crowd...
I'm about to see, can I find that shit? I want to find that shit. Shit, how you get it recorded? How you get that shit? I want to know shit. I know it's somewhere.
Thug life, y'all don't forget that shit. What type niggas a thug life? Y'all don't forget that shit. What type niggas a thug life, nigga?
Yeah, we won't hear that shit. Uh-oh, here we go. This it? But you don't have the music in them.
Fuck what they all say.
Oh, I do. Bitch. Fuck.
By the way, the first time I boycotted the Grammys was for him. We both came out that year. He didn't get nominated. He dropped 2 albums, had 2 #1 albums in the same year.
Right. I remember that.
Oh, we got a little further. I want to hear the fucking battle, bro. Damn, we got music in that bitch. Fuck me up. Let me see.
Y'all say niggas can't stop.
Y'all gonna, somebody said X. Bobby said X, he going with X. Y'all seen that shit? Let me know who won. Who y'all think won? Whoever seen that battle. YouTube, I can't use because you got music, copyright music.
Couldn't pick a clear winner, so everyone saw it as a draw. When X left the building, it was snowing. He drove right back to Baltimore late at night. In '95, X came back to Yonkers and got close with the rap group Warlocks, aka The Locks, consisting of Jadakiss, Styles P, and Sheek Louch, who became part of the Rough Riders crew. One day, Jadakiss supposedly lost a rap battle, and X made sure to avenge him by beating them for him. '95 was also the year when the record producer Irv Gotti became an A&R talent scout for TVT Records. He was the one that brought DMX and Ja Rule together.
They go ahead and say Ja Rule want to be goddamn Tupac so damn bad. That boy want to be Tupac so goddamn bad. He ain't made no damn shit, but he had them songs now. I ain't gonna lie, he had them goddamn banger songs singing to them women. Yeah, yo. Got to do with it. What's
on a Mike Geronimo track called Time to Build. So X went there and recorded his vocals for the track, but then Gotti did him dirty by making Jay-Z get on the same track without X knowing. And the two were competing at the time. So X thought Jay-Z got on it to destroy him on the track. Jay supposedly got upset that X got to have the final verse on the track. So he dissed him in the verse without X being able to respond. X told Gotti, if you were going to put him on the song, why didn't you put him on the song like you put me on the song?
Yeah.
You let him hear my ish so he knew how to counteract what I said.
Yeah.
That gave me a disadvantage. If I knew there was going to be a battle on wax, I would have finished him.
Yeah.
Gotti then responded, but both of y'all are my people. And I didn't know with how crazy you can get if I could safely put you two in the same room
Jay-Z
together.
can't never fight nobody straight up.
X saw it as a weak...
They go in and call a check. Jay-Z can't fight nobody straight up. You know what I'm saying? He always gotta do some dirty shit. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Nas. When him and Nas going at it, he always doing some dirty shit. Him and Mobb Deep, always doing some dirty shit. Oh my goddamn nerve.
Excuse. A few weeks later, Gotti made up for the move by taking X's demo tape to TVT Records to see if he could get him signed there, like he did with his other artists. But the president of the label didn't like his material, saying that he sounded too much like the group Onyx. Puff Daddy didn't want to sign DMX to Bad Boy either. He became frustrated when he saw how Jay and Ja were making progress with their careers, while he was still as broke as when he made Born Loser in the early 90s. Cause Jay was recording his debut album Reasonable Doubt at the time, and X became a little jealous. Cause he was battling all these people like K-Solo, Lord Finesse, Andre the Giant, Bill Blass, Jay, and people were saying that he never lost a battle, but somehow he was the one no one wanted to sign. Jay became DMX's first real rival, but only because X was super competitive. Since he wasn't making much progress with his career, he went right back to doing robberies, but this time his methods became more sophisticated. He would do cab hoppings. Basically, hop inside a taxi and...
Yo, ass bald headed and you can rap. Shit, they were hating on your head back then. They go ahead and call it what, you bald headed, you got nigga rap, they were hating on your ass.
Jay was recording his debut album Reasonable Doubt at the time, and X became a little jealous. Cause he was battling all these people like K-Solo, Lord Finesse, Andre the Giant, Bill Blass, Jay, and people were saying that he never lost a battle, but somehow he was the one no one wanted to sign. Jay became DMX's first real rival, but only because X was super competitive. Since he wasn't making much progress with his career, he went right back to doing robberies, but this time his methods became more sophisticated. He would do cab hoppings, basically hop inside a taxi and tell the driver his destination, but then make him stop and wait to go inside a shop, do the robbery and then use the cab as a getaway car. In order to avoid paying the driver, he would make him stop at a different shop, and this time he would be comfortable enough to let him out again. But then X just wouldn't return to finish the cab ride, so the driver would wait for him and never receive his money. while X is on his way home by foot. In spring of '96, Rough Riders put themselves officially on the map by signing Jadakiss, Sheek Louch and Styles P to a record contract with Puff Daddy's Bad Boy Entertainment. They were now getting pushed by artists like the notorious B.I.G., who was the king of New York at the time. Then you also had Mace, Faith Evans and 112. But they didn't sign X, which really discouraged them, cause he and the Lux just recorded the song Done Started Something, which appeared on the Bad Boy mixtape Volume 4, released in June that year. X even dissed Biggie's rival Tupac in hopes—
Appreciate my boy putting that shit on weight, bro.
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
And when I did one of my streams, I did Jay-Z. I did Jay-Z versus what? It was Mobb Deep. I think I did Jay-Z versus Mobb Deep one day, and then I did Jay-Z versus Nas. I exposed most of all his great hits. Got Biggie verse in that. I said, damn, he used a lot of Biggie goddamn verses and he hit songs and shit. I was like, damn, this boy can't write his own shit. I said, hell no, I'm talking about every song. I said, damn, this nigga. I'm surprised anybody knew that shit.
of getting some of his spotlight and a little more push from Puffy and Biggie, but they were only interested in the Lux.
Transforming this, we'll get it quick. And yo, for real, like again, Tupac to suck my dick.
Yeah, we about to fall out. Goddamn, we right here, twin. You know what I'm saying? You had to say that about my boy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I feel about Tupac. Oh my God. What did he say? What the hell Tupac had to do with it? Oh Lord, it don't matter. Come on now.
Only interested in the Lux.
Transforming this, we'll get it quick. And yo, for real, like again, Tupac to suck my dick.
So X complained to Irv Gotti, and he kept telling him to keep going, that one day he'll make it big. Yo, I think they're going to make me an A&R over at Def Jam. So as soon as I get in there, I don't want to hear that ish, X said. I don't give a F anymore. Gotti, I've been doing this ish for 12 years. Gotti then said, dog, you know you're the nicest guy out here. It's gonna happen. One day, DMX saw a bunch of men running from the cops, and one of them dropped a chain, which X quickly picked up and put in his sock. He later sold it for $40. Later on, he got approached by people who accused him of robbing the 16-year-old that lost the chain, saying that he didn't actually drop it, but that X robbed him, because he had a reputation for robbing people in the neighborhood. They jumped him and gave him a terrible beating. After taking a couple of blows to the face, he fell to the ground, where they stomped him out with their Timberland boots. They then took him to the park to finish the job. The mob grew and everyone took turns with him. One of them picked up a brick while X was lying on the ground. Then he heard sirens and somehow managed to summon all of the strength he had left to get up, stumbling away as fast as he could. A few minutes later, an ambulance found him a few blocks away, laid out on the street in a pool of blood. His head and face were numb, and he also said that his ribs felt like they were crushed against his lungs. He was having an asthma attack. His face looked deformed. It was swollen and inflamed. His clothes were torn off during the beating. 3 days later, he felt like he was getting worse. It was getting harder and harder for him to breathe. And every time he woke up, there was blood all over his pillow. The right side of his neck had swollen out past his face. One side of his jaw appeared to be hanging lower than the other, and the front of his chin was loose. He couldn't stop drooling blood. The doctors at the hospital were doing a terrible job, so he was taken to the hospital at the Valhalla prison. And there they found out that he had a huge abscess in his throat filled with pus. They told him that if he had stayed one more day without treatment, all of the infected liquid in his face would have begun to choke him to death. Damn. They also said that his nose and the upper and lower jaw were broken. 3 days prior, the doctors at the hospital told him that he was fine and just sent him back home without any proper treatment. Probably because he neither had his ID with him or money or insurance. The prison doctors, on the other hand, took his condition very seriously. He was immediately sent into surgery to reset his jaw and remove all the pus. And then they wired his mouth closed. After the surgery, they kept him for 3 days under observation. His mother didn't bother to pay him a visit. All she said was that she heard about it. didn't
She getting on my goddamn nerve. I ain't gonna lie. Hit mom, dude. She ain't worth the fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't say that about nobody, mama. God damn. The fuck? She was a damn demon. I ain't gonna lie. Fuck, something wrong with her head.
really care for him anymore. X's jaw was wired closed for 3 months. He couldn't eat any solid food or chew. Couldn't drink anything that he couldn't sip through a straw. It also couldn't be too hot or too cold, or else it would inflame the nerve endings in his mouth. He also couldn't talk. Instead, he was forced to make sounds of words through his clenched teeth. Forced to eat blended food, and no one came to visit him. The story of DMX getting beaten up was all over Yonkers the same week it happened. But that didn't seem to motivate any of his friends or family members to pick up the phone or knock on his door. He thought the beating and ostracization was God teaching him a lesson for all the robberies he did over the years. I had been robbing people my whole life, and I never had this type of dirt thrown back at me until now. Until the one time I didn't rob the guy. That was crazy. And I couldn't help to wonder if my beatdown was some kind of spiritual payback. Had I earned it? Had the 15 years that I had spent robbing and stealing with no mask and no gun finally come back to haunt me? The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. The more I began to believe that the beatdown had been my day of judgment. I was hurt. I was effed up. I almost died. But God was doing nothing but teaching me a lesson. You wanna piss in the bed, Earl? Huh? Then sleep in it. X wanted to kill his attackers one by one and wouldn't have felt any remorse for it. But he kept thinking about who he was and the lessons he needed to learn. And in the end, those vengeful thoughts began to fade. During recovery, he thought to himself that he could never go back to doing robberies. Rap was the only way out for him. So he started rapping again, yelling with a damaged jaw, trying to get better, rapping through the wire. On November 1st, DJ Ron G's mixtape Street Dreams hit the streets and contained a track called Ghetto Life Freestyle, which X had recorded a couple weeks before the beatdown. The tape actually gave X a lot of publicity. He impressed a lot of hip-hop fans and A&R.
What's the name of it? Hold on, I'm trying to find that shit. My bad, y'all. I'm gonna find that shit. Me first. I don't know. For me, I like listening to all the artists like they early in music before they got like real hot and shit. Let me see, can we find it? What is it called? Ron G Street Dreams. Oh yeah. What can we find in it? eBay. I'm not finna get that bitch on no eBay, bitch. We fucked up with DMX in it. Oh, you got the lyrics in that. Let me go to the lyrics. What is it called? Ghetto Life? I bet I found that motherfucker. Boom. Say that. Boom.
Mixtape Street Dreams hit the streets and contained a track called Ghetto Life Freestyle, which X had recorded a couple weeks before the beatdown. The tape actually gave X a lot of publicity. He impressed a lot of hip-hop fans and A&Rs with his raps. While X's mouth was still wired shut, Irv Gotti paid him a visit and told him that the mixtape finally gave him the attention he wanted. Cause the president of Def Jam Records, Leo Cohen, had heard it. In early '97, Irv Gotti became an A&R for Def Jam, and he made Leo Cohen listen to the tape. They were all impressed, so he told Gotti to set up a date with X where they can get to know each other. Def Jam at the time was being grossly outsold by Death Row Records and Bad Boy Entertainment because of rap heavyweights like Snoop Dogg, the Notorious B.I.G., the Dogg Pound, and Tupac, who had just passed away.
Another one.
Give my boy Tupac.
Give me a hell yeah.
Def Jam needed a new face to revive the label. They spent $100 million to sell $60 million worth of music the year Leo came to see X at Powerhouse. so they weren't selling many records, even with big names on the label like Method Man, Redman, and Onyx.
I said that shit last year. I said when Tupac died, nobody couldn't copy Tupac. I said a lot of these motherfuckers started to fall fuck out. I said that shit. I said it.
That's why they were desperately looking for new talents. When Gotti paid X a visit, he told him, "So dog, tell me when you're going to get your wires off, and I'll set a date for all the check writers to come to Powerhouse." X then responded through his clenched teeth, "It doesn't matter, man. They can come whenever they want." "Yeah, but X, we want them to see you at your best. This will probably be the only time they'll come up here. I'm going to bring Leo Cohen with me, who's the president, and the brother they got up there, Kevin Lyles. Irv, I don't give a F. They can come whenever they want. I'm gonna do what I do." "X, your jaw is wired shut. It doesn't matter, dog. Don't you understand? That ish doesn't matter to me. Bring them up here." "Okay, F it. Then I'll let them know it's on tomorrow." "Whatever, man. It's on tomorrow then." That night, Powerhouse was packed. The Lux were there along with more than a dozen up-and-coming MCs who were battling. One of them stopped rapping when he saw X walking in, and the beat was cut. They all made space for him, moving to the sides similar to how Moses split the Red Sea. "Yo, throw the beat back on." X rapped the lyrics he had just written for a song called The Convo, which would later make it on his debut album, along with most of the other tracks he had at the time. He started sweating and could feel the wires in his mouth pulling, straining to keep his jaw together. But he wanted to prove to everyone that he can rhyme better than anyone in the world. He then rapped the lyrics to the song Let Me Fly. And after that, Leo Cohen jumped up yelling, "That's it. He's the man. DMX is the man." That was the day that changed his life forever.
Give DMX flowers for that, bro.
Give me a hell yeah.
Another one. Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
That boy dedicated.
In March of '97, the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment, Puff Daddy, suffered through the murder of his artist and friend, the notorious B.I.G. So now both labels, Death Row and Bad Boy, were basically crippled. Tupac had sold millions of records a year prior and proved to everyone that a real hip-hop artist could sell just as much as pop artists. Biggie did the same in '97, but now the rap game was looking for the next big thing. With the faces of both coasts passing away, DMX was up next. While Puffy tried to make hip-hop more bright, colorful and flashy, X wanted to take it back to the streets with his dark and grimy sound and image. So basically the complete opposite. Def Jam wanted to make sure to give him the audience and attention he needed to become the next hip-hop king. So in May '97, after years and years of struggling in the music business, X was finally signed to Def Jam Records. Toward the end of '97, some of the songs he had done guest verses on started playing on the radio. Like for example, The Lux's Money, Power and Respect, LL Cool J's 4321, Cameron's Pull It, and Mace's 24 Hours to Live. Puffy supposedly had a problem with X cursing too much on 24 Hours to Live, so he told him to redo the verse. "Who is that last guy?" Angie Martinez, the Hot 97 DJ, said on air when she first heard him. From that point on, all eyes were on him. Puffy then actually...
Look, Angie Martinez. You know what I'm saying? We need you to drop that little interview with you and Pop. You know what I'm saying? It's been like 30 years now. You need to go ahead and drop that motherfucker, twin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I want to say real quick.
Tried to sign him to Bad Boy after initially turning him down back in '96, because he felt like X was too hard for the radio. But now he started to regret it, offering X double whatever Def Jam's money was, but X turned it down. Around that same time, X started working on his debut album, not only recording all the tracks he had previously written but never got a chance to record, but also new ones like Get At Me Dog, Stop Being Greedy, How's It Going Down, and Damien. The same night he recorded Damien, he decided to call the album It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. It was the perfect title. The darkness described my biggest challenges. Hell described the reality of the world I was living in. After all these years, was the world finally ready to hear what I was trying to say? Irv Gotti then introduced him to a video director called Hype Williams, who ended up casting him for the lead role in the movie Belly.
another one.
Right there.
Give me a hell yeah.
Why they ain't make a number 2 though? We need Billy too. Well, we can't get it at this point, but you know what I'm saying? This movie was a hit though. They should have made number 2.
Giving him even more exposure. On May 19th, 1998, Def Jam then released X's debut album, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard album charts and sold more than 250,000 copies in its first week. Rough Riders Anthem became the monster jam of the summer. That's when Def Jam challenged him to deliver another album right away. And when Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood was released on December 22nd of the same year, it sold more than 670,000 copies in the first week, again debuting as the #1 album in the country. X became the second artist in history to release 2 albums in the same year that both debuted at the top of the Billboard charts. The first being Tupac with All Eyes on Me and the Don Killuminati's 7 Day Theory. And that's when the comparison started. People called X the new Tupac, but X never liked those comparisons, saying,
What y'all think? He was new Tupac? What y'all think? What y'all think about that statement right there? Y'all think he was new Tupac?
I'm not the next Pac, I'm the first X. In spring '99, DMX and Jay battled once again backstage on the Hard Knock Live tour. And that same year, X finally got married to his girlfriend Tashira. Their relationship had tons of ups and downs.
The game. Oh, I ain't watching that shit. Hell no. They did a Billy 2 with the game. Nope. Nas was in there? Was Nas in that movie? If Nas was in that movie, I ain't watching that shit. I want to see was he gonna come back from Africa? You know what I'm saying? What happened when he was in Africa? You know what I'm saying?
Especially because of X's drug use, which resulted in him being verbally abusive and overly aggressive towards her.
I don't like this shit.
But they still decided to tie the knot. According to his wife, his drug use got out of control as soon as he started becoming successful. He already had a bad temper and anger issues, but the drugs amplified it. In June that same year, when officers of the Fort Lee Police Department executed a search of his home, X promptly surrendered himself on weapons possession charges. But they also found pipes for smoking crack cocaine and 14 caged pit bulls. X was still a drug addict. His newfound wealth didn't help him to overcome it. It made it only easier for him to buy it. He then faced 13 counts of animal cruelty, 2 counts of maintaining a nuisance, disorderly conduct, and possession of drug paraphernalia. X was then released on $50,000 bail. The weapons possession charges were later dropped as part of...
When it comes to them damn animals, baby, leave their ass alone. They lock you up quick with them animals, but I don't fucking around. Abuse their ass you want to. They would come goddamn marching like a motherfucker.
A plea bargain 3 years later. But he ended up pleading guilty to charges of animal cruelty, disorderly conduct, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was fined $1,000 for each count of animal cruelty, in order to produce public service announcements for the Humane Society warning children against guns and animal abuse to avoid jail time. Through all this, he was also recording music. In December '99, he released his 3rd studio album, And Then There Was X, which sold 698,000 copies in the first week, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200.
Okay, y'all, for all my DMX who listen to these albums, these albums are worth to listen to. I need to know. Cause these the album I'm gonna put on my Apple Music when I go to the gym in the morning. Is these worth listening to? Let me know. I'm trying to get more into like DMX. You know, I know all his hit songs and shit, but I'm trying to like his albums. I never listened to his albums. You know, I grew down south and shit, so I ain't all New York people and shit. I'm not really hip to them like that. So y'all let me know. I'm gonna download. Wait, what was the first one? Damn, I forgot the damn first one. I gotta go back and find it.
Becoming his best-selling album and eventually going 5 times platinum. In March 2000, X was then arrested for driving without a license and possession of marijuana after being pulled over for speeding. He served a 15-day jail sentence for the charge in February 2001, after a warrant was issued for his arrest when he initially failed to appear in court. After improving his legal situation, X returned to the studio to record his next project, October 23rd, 2001, he made history again, when his fourth album, The Great Depression, debuted at #1 on the Billboard chart, selling 440,000 copies in the first week, and making that a string of 4 in a row. By this point, he had sold around 15 million albums, headlined a few national tours, and had become a worldwide star at the box office, connecting with generations of young people who are sparked by aggression that he never tried to hide, and becoming a hero for those who can relate to the pain that he was so willing to share. But there is a mental toll that is often charged to an artist when they achieve this level of super success. The frustrating ironies of being adored by millions of people that you don't know and definitely don't know you. And when you have chosen to take this time to ask yourself the most difficult questions, to look inside the deepest, darkest corners of your life, it's not hard to imagine conflict or nightmares. X was on top of the game, but he didn't want to be in it for too long. I don't think I'm gonna be in this rap game long, dog. 5 years, that's it. And I've got 3.5 in now. There's a higher calling for me, and I'm no longer afraid or ashamed of it. In 2002, X entered a drug rehabilitation program to address his issues with substance abuse. More specifically, his crack cocaine addiction, a problem he battled throughout his life. Although he entered rehabilitation to deal with the addiction, he quickly relapsed and continued to face legal and substance abuse challenges in the following years. On September 16, 2003, he then released his fifth #1 album called Grand Champ, selling 312,000 copies in the first week. So this was now the second album in a row with lower sales than usual, only going platinum this time. It was X's final album to achieve a certification. After its release, he informed the public that he planned to retire, intending for Grand Champ to be his final album. He wanted to retire to become a pastor. In June 2004, X was arrested at the John F. Kennedy International Airport on charges of cocaine possession, criminal impersonation, criminal possession of a weapon, criminal mischief, menacing, and driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, while claiming to be a federal agent and attempting to carjack a vehicle. He was given...
Not a federal agent. Yeah, damn, that dude... Boy, he might give a fuck, man. You a person there go. Damn.
A conditional discharge on December 8, 2004, but pleaded guilty on October 25, 2005 to violating parole. On November 18th, X was then sentenced to 70 days in jail at Rikers Island for violating parole. He was released early for good behavior on December 30th, 2005. And then, after a conflict with Def Jam, he left the label to sign with Columbia Records once again, returning to the label after getting dropped in '92. Shortly afterwards, he started working on his next album. It had been almost 3 years since Grand Champ hit the streets, and the media was slandering him for all the arrests and drug charges, saying that he fell off and that his career is over. X tried to make it.
So if y'all had to pick one, DMX versus Tupac, who y'all pick? Who y'all pick? I just want to know. Y'all already know who I'm gonna pick, but yo, who y'all pick? DMX, as far as like pain, you know what I'm saying? Connect, you know, things of that nature. Who y'all gonna pick? DMX or Tupac? I want to know at this point, cause he up there with Tupac now. Now he don't drop out with 5 albums. You know what I'm saying? He up there, so he won on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't know.
A comeback by releasing his 6th studio album Year of the Dog again on August 1st, 2006, which sold 125,000 copies in the first week. But for the first time, it did not debut at #1 on Billboard. He faced harsh criticism, not only for the quality of the album, but also for its decline in popularity and success. In August 2007, DMX's home in the Phoenix area was raided on reports of animal cruelty to his 12 pit bulls on the property. X maintained that any neglect was the result of a caretaker who was not taking proper supervision of the dogs. But they also found a quarter ounce of marijuana in his home. On May 9, 2008, X was then arrested again on drug and animal cruelty charges after attempting to barricade himself inside his home in Arizona. He then pleaded guilty to charges of drug possession, theft, and animal cruelty at a hearing on December 30th, 2008. He was sentenced to 90 days in jail on January 31st, 2009. There, he told Fox 10 News that jail helped him to realize his quote-unquote true calling in life, which is being a pastor. I came here to meet somebody, to tell them that Jesus loves them, to tell them about the glory of God. But then he got into another assault incident where he threw a food tray at a detention officer, leading to charges of attempted aggravated assaults, for which he later pleaded guilty and received 18 months of probation, avoiding further jail time by agreeing to counseling in Florida. After serving 4 out of 6 months for violating drug probation.
Y'all think they would cut him some slack because he was famous? Because he was a regular person. He was shit. Like the average Joe. Shit. All them damn drug charges. Yeah, now you'll never see light day again. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think they would let him go and shit, probation and shit because he was famous?
X was released from jail on July 6, 2010. That day, a television pilot was filmed to portray X's road to recovery. However, X was arrested 3 weeks later and the pilot did not evolve into a series. Cause on July 27, 2010, X turned himself in to Los Angeles Metropolitan Court for a reckless driving charge he received in 2002. He was sentenced to 90 days in jail. Shortly after his release, he got arrested again on November 19, 2010 for violating his probation for aggravated assault on an officer. A month later, on December 20th, X moved to the mental health unit of the Arizona Alhambra State Prison and got released on July 18, 2011. A month later, on August 24, 2011, he was arrested for the 10th time in Maricopa County. This time,
it's his damn mama fault. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. His mama fucked him up. I ain't gonna lie. That mama and the dude, the older dude that gave him the lace blunt, fucked him up. God damn, boy. That nigga went to jail back to back. I can't even count how many times he went to jail. Shit.
for speeding, recorded at 102 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. He was also facing charges for reckless driving and driving with a suspended license. X was cited and released on bond the next day. On March 21, 2012, VH1 aired the first episode of the show Couples Therapy, in which X and his estranged wife, Tashira Simmons, underwent intensive relationship therapy with Dr. Jen Berman to address the issues in their 12-year marriage, revealing raw moments of conflict, DMX's struggles with addiction and trauma, including a breakthrough reunion with his estranged mother, showcasing his vulnerability alongside his defiance of the rules. One of the key moments of the show was him explaining how he doesn't remember his mother ever telling him that she loves him.
You never got to have that mommy experience.
No, and she never, not once she ever told me that she loved me.
And then they finally reunited, after decades of not seeing each other. X once again broke down in tears.
Ooh, hey, hold back, Jack. Hold back.
Baby, don't cry. How you doing? How you doing? Ooh, so good.
She might make me damn cry.
Like I can't hold you tight enough.
Then she asked, well, I came in, and she walked. Yeah, she walked in the door, and I think it's at that point right there that I just let everything go. I mean, I just hugged her. You know, she crying, I'm crying. It was like I don't know, a different. It wasn't a hurt cry. It was like, yes, this is what I need. And, yeah.
That's all you needed, mom, bro.
I'm sorry. I am truly, from the bottom of my heart, I am sorry. I don't care what it was. I don't care what it was. I don't care what it was, what it is. I don't care.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm all right.
After 6 years of silence, X
Damn. Give me a moment, boy. Shit, they don't about make me. They about make me goddamn cry, boy. Yeah, I don't like seeing shit like that, boy. I'm gonna be honey. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm about to cry for real.
released his 7th studio album, Undisputed, on September 11th, 2012, selling 17,000 copies in the first week, debuting at number 19 on the US Billboard 200 chart, which is his worst performing album to date. His comeback didn't work out. He was too far gone, as far as mental and drug problems go. On February 13th, 2013...
Mama didn't love him, daddy was goddamn homeless, like, bruh. Shit, bro, motherfucker just walked through like, man, fuck it, I don't even give a fuck, bro. Then dude laced the blunt with the goddamn, with the crack and shit, so he was fucked up from that shit, like, damn. I was like, he was still doing music and stuff at the same time, in an addict, like, damn. That man had a strong mind, but word.
X was arrested once again in South Carolina for driving without a license. And 5 months later, on July 26th, he was arrested once again in the same state and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, as well as driving without a license. A month later, on August 20th, he was arrested yet again during a traffic stop, after a car he was a passenger in made an improper U-turn. He was arrested due...
We don't get too many celebrities in South Carolina. We know you in town, or you had we know he had bars. Shit, they gonna be watching him. They was on his ass. I bet it was Maul, police. I bet it was Maul.
To an outstanding warrant for driving under suspension. They also found 4 packages of marijuana in the vehicle.
Me too,
2.5 months later, on November 4th, X was once again arrested by the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport police after they noticed X behind the wheel of a vehicle at the terminal. He was booked on charges of driving with a suspended license, having an uninsured vehicle, and driving an unlicensed vehicle. He was subsequently released after spending 3 hours in jail. In 2014, DMX got divorced from his wife Tashira and was ordered to pay $10,000 of child support per month for their 4 children. He filed for bankruptcy 3 times to avoid paying child support, but the filings were dismissed by the US Bankruptcy Court in Manhattan. In 2015, a man accused X of robbing him, and on June 26th, he was arrested in New York and charged in New Jersey with robbery and failure to pay child support. A couple weeks later, on July 14th, X was sentenced to 6 months in jail for failure to pay $400,000 in child support. On February 10th, 2016, X was found unresponsive in a parking lot in Yonkers, New York. He was resuscitated by first responders and intravenously given Narcan, a drug that reverses opioid. He responded quickly and became semi-conscious. He was then rushed to the hospital. A witness said X ingested a powdered substance before collapsing, but police found no illegal substances on the property. According to X, it was from an asthma attack. In July 2017, X was charged with 14 federal counts of tax fraud. Federal prosecutors charged him with failing to file income tax returns from 2010 to 2015, a period in which he earned at least $2.3 million. He pleaded guilty to a single count of tax fraud in November 2017 and was originally free pending sentencing, but was remanded to jail in January 2018 after leaving a drug treatment program ordered by the court and relapsing with cocaine and oxycodone. While being in rehab, he gained around 40 pounds, but people thought he looked healthier. In March 2018, he was then sentenced to a year in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. The court also ordered him to pay $2.29 in restitution to the government. He was released from prison on January 25, 2019, re-entering drug rehabilitation a 3rd time to get his crack cocaine addiction under control. But he would once again relapse and consume the drugs in secret, pretending to be clean, trying to fool his loved ones by convincing them that he's finally off the drugs. But he never stopped. He was fighting his demons his entire life. But it was a battle that X wasn't able to win. As things got worse and worse the older he got, and the more his health declined. On April 2nd, 2021, at approximately 11 p.m., X was rushed to White Plains Hospital where he was reported to be in critical condition, following a heart attack at his home, possibly resulting from a drug overdose. He suffered cerebral hypoxia as paramedics attempted to resuscitate him for 30 minutes. The next day, his attorney confirmed that X was on life support. His former manager said that he was in a vegetative state with lung and brain failure and no current brain activity. He was comatose and sent to undergo tests to determine his brain's functionality. 6 days later, on the morning of April 9th, X lost functionality in multiple essential organs, reportedly his liver, kidneys, and lungs, and was pronounced dead shortly after, at the age of 50. He was the father of 15 children, respected and idolized by millions of people all around the world, including myself. His funeral took place in Brooklyn on April 25th, and a month later, on May 25th, they released his final album Exodus through his old label Def Jam, which he signed to 2 years prior, selling 32,000 copies in the first week and debuting at number 8 on the US Billboard 200 chart.
Green motherfucker. Then y'all, I bet they ain't get nothing to your damn family. Boy, I tell you these labels, boy, I tell you.
DMX's life was never simple, never clean, and never easy. He gave the world his pain, his faith, and his truth, unfiltered and unapologetic. While his struggles ultimately took a heavy toll, his voice, his honesty, and his impact on hip-hop will never fade. Behind the headlines and controversies was a man searching for peace in a world that never stopped testing him. As fans, all we can...
Recipe DMX, bro.
Give me a hell yeah.
Recipe, man. That's damn sad, bro. Damn, Ted, I don't know how we feel about that, bro. Fuck, bro. Alright, we gonna see who's worse. Big Pun, mother, or DMX. Yeah, that shit hurt my soul, bro. Like, bro, I ain't know all this shit, bro. Like, bro, I don't even know what to say, bro. To be honest. Me personally, I don't like seeing people like going through that and shit. Like, for real, bro. That boy went outside. Alright, next we doing Big Pun, his tragic life and death. Let's get into it, y'all.
By, you know, me being from the Bronx, it was, you know, it's my life. I didn't have to look for it. I come outside.
Another one.
Rap artists are right there in front of my building. On the corner, they were breakdancing, you know. Hip-hop is culture. Hip-hop is in
appreciate you subscribing to the channel, bro, on Twitch. I appreciate that, bro.
It's life. It's a way of life, a way of living. And then you wake up every day and you're surrounded by, you know, me being from the Bronx, it was, you know, it's my life. I didn't have to look for it. I come outside.
Thank you for the
graph artists are right there in front of my building. On the corner, they were breakdancing, you know what I'm saying? They was constantly battling on the corner, so it was my life. It was just like being, you know, being Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying? You're part of hip-hop, being black.
Shout out to my Puerto Rican.
Just...
Where my bees? Where my Puerto Rican bees at? Shout out to the Puerto Rican, man.
Another one.
Oh, yeah, man. I got him, twin.
Hip hop where I was from, you know what I mean? So it was like culture to me. It was like part of my everyday life.
Pun is incredible. You know, he's just simply a genius. You know, I executive produced him. I also manage him, discovered him. You know, I love it. You know, it seems like, you know, all our work efforts paid off.
What I gotta do, let y'all know, I am the nicest ever. Forever.
Big Pun.
February 7th, 2000. The hip-hop world lost a lyrical giant by the name of...
We doing documentaries on DMX. We just finished it with DMX, and now we doing Big Pun. If y'all heard that song, Don't Wanna Be a Player No More. I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. That Big Pun right there. For those that don't know who Big Pun.
Of Big Pun, one of the greatest rappers to ever live. He was pronounced dead at just 28 years old.
Latino goddamn
Pun wasn't just a rapper. He was a pioneer, the first Latino hip-hop solo artist to go platinum. A wordplay assassin, lyricist, and a Bronx legend. But behind the boss and the bravado was a man battling demons, both physical and emotional.
Oh, shit, we about to get in
Was
this
his
shit again.
death just the result of
About to
poor
be sad
health,
again,
or
Chad.
was there more to the story? From fame and family struggles to the pressure of the spotlight. Today we uncover what really led to the untimely death of Big Pun. It all started during his childhood. Pun was born on November 10th, 1971 in the Bronx, New York. He grew up in poverty and was surrounded by drugs, violence and crime, having to face some of the biggest hardships you can go through, especially at such a young age. The first couple of years of his life were relatively normal. His parents were married, and even though they were poor, it was still a loving environment until early '76 when his parents got divorced. Pun was around 4 years old when things went south after his mother caught his dad cheating. After the separation, Pun stayed with his mother, who started to become neglectful as she focused more on enjoying her single life than raising her kids. She actually gave Pun's older sister Pina to her mother, so the two siblings were separated. Pun's mother started experimenting with drugs. She would always smoke weed with her friends and family members while Pun was outside playing. The breakup really bothered him. In '76, he started acting up and rebelling against his mother, cause he wanted his father back. One day, Pun and his mother went to meet a relative. She went up to the apartment to smoke weed with her cousin and her friend, while Pun had to wait downstairs. He was 4 years old, hyperactive, and needed someone to watch over him, but his mom wasn't there. Out of boredom, Pun then started climbing a wall at a park, getting on top of a roof of a building that was still under construction. He climbed until he was 4 stories high. At that point, he lost his balance and fell over, landing on a pile of bricks, breaking his leg, his arm and jaw. The security guards called upstairs to inform his mother, who was
Both they mamas got something in common. They do not. They ain't look at what DMX got hit by a car. This nigga fell off the goddamn building. God damn.
What type nigga is a thug life nigga?
God damn, bro. Y'all said, what is this? It's a Big Pun. The story of Big Pun. The tragedy of his life and death. Big Pun don't want to be a player no more. You know, y'all. I know y'all heard that song. Don't act like y'all ain't never heard that song. Don't want to be a player. No, the one the big dude that with Fat Joe. Back in the day.
was still smoking weed and enjoying herself. She supposedly ran down 32 floors and saw Pun on the ground. The first words he said were, "Don't worry, Mom. Don't cry. I'm alright." His leg was mangled and distorted. So was his arm and face. This was just one of many incidents where Pun would receive physical injuries, some of them permanent. This would especially become a problem after his weight gain. His mom blamed his rebellious face on the breakup. And it only got worse, cause shortly after that she married Pun's stepdad and got pregnant again.
Damn stepdad and damn bitch.
He didn't get along with his stepdad at all, cause he would abuse him almost on a daily basis. Pun would tell him that he's not his dad, and his stepdad would counter that it's Pun's fault that his father is gone, trying to make him feel guilty and weak, punishing him by holding it against him. Your dad left you because you're always acting up. You made your mom sad. You have to learn how to behave. Be a good boy and do this and that for me, or else your mom will leave you. So he would emotionally manipulate him at a very young age, making him feel like trash, helpless and weak, at a time when he was supposed to build confidence and feel powerful and in control. It really affected his growth and development, and could explain why people later called him controlling and possessive when he became an adult. He would act up, punch holes into walls, and turn red out of anger, clenching his jaw, after being tormented and forced to do things against his will. In 1978, when Pun was 6, he jumped off the roof of a daycare center and once again broke his arm. He ran the teachers crazy, at daycare and at school. So his mom took him to the doctor and he was diagnosed with hyperactivity. They put him on medication to calm him down. His stepdad didn't really understand what hyperactivity is, so he was more strict to him, thinking that he lacks discipline and respect. Pun would wet his bed until the age of 7, meaning around 79. That was around the time when Pun's mother started doing heroin, after finding out that her new husband is a heroin addict. Cause Pun's stepdad was using it to help him with his PTSD after coming back from the Vietnam War. Big Pun's mother would spiral into heroin addiction.
Damn.
And they started abusing him together. Two heroin addicts abusing a hyperactive kid, making him do all the work for them, for their
DMX and goddamn Big Pun got the worst childhood. I ain't gonna lie. God damn. Ed was getting beat up like he was getting beat by his mom at the time. His mom was on here. God damn. Ooh, you couldn't grow up in New York by that time. Oh Lord, hell no.
Satisfaction, turning him into a slave almost, or an errand boy that they would beat up and abuse. They didn't care about him. All they cared about was drugs. They also found joy in mentally torturing him, forcing him to complete tasks in impossible time frames, knowing that he can't complete them in time, giving his stepdad a reason to beat and abuse him. It's like telling a kid, I'm beating your ass because you weren't able to run 1,000 miles an hour, knowing damn well that no one can run 1,000 miles an hour. Typical bully behavior. Making him run from point A to B, buy him snacks, run to the bodega, buy groceries, pay bills, do A, B, C and D, just to come home to receive a horrible beating for not doing it fast enough. Making him once again feel guilty for something that's out of his control. It was always expected that he's not only perfect but also superhuman. At just 7 years old, his stepdad would burst into his room in the middle of the night, slamming frying pans together to wake him up, yelling, "Get up!" turning the lights on, scaring him, forcing him to do push-ups like he did while he was at the army during the Vietnam War, smacking him in the back of his head whenever he failed to do enough push-ups. So he gave Pun the same treatment he got while he was in the military. And this would go on for over 7 years. He would throw hard objects.
My bad, I ain't even get to see that. It said DMX and Big Pun reaction channel. Also Tupac and 90s Rap Talk. It's a great channel.
At him whenever he got mad. Always comparing him to others to show him that they're better than him. He wanted him to be a military boy, the best of the best. And Pun would get so mad that he would turn red, making people think that he's going to burst, clenching his teeth, biting, chewing, and even eating rocks out of anger, which completely ruined his teeth. His mom was already too far gone due to her heroin addiction, so she didn't intervene or even show any type of sympathy or empathy for him. She was completely unbothered, and Pun's stepdad felt powerful having the boy's life in his hands and being able to do whatever he wants with him. With his mother right there saying absolutely nothing. The drugs supposedly changed her as a person, making her very selfish.
That's why you gotta be careful who you got kids with. Yeah. Fuck that. You gotta be careful who you put your seed into. Fuck that shit. I have a kid one day, bitch. We gonna be together forever. I'll be on kill somebody. I ain't gonna lie. By my kids, I ain't playing that shit.
She was purposefully ignoring what was going on and only cared about getting high. Every time Pun tried to speak to her and address his issues with his stepdad, she would say, "Play dead." The same phrase over and over again every time he got on her nerves or whenever she felt stressed out. And that hurt his feelings a lot. All he wanted was for his mom to love him at least half as much as he loved her. And that didn't change until the day he died. He would beg for attention and act up in school. Pun's mom would start beating him just like his stepdad. Sometimes she got so mad that she hit him with objects, like her high heel shoe for example. The heel cut his head and made him bleed. Another time she put a lock inside a sock and hit him with it, making his skin turn black and blue. His hyperactivity was giving his parents a reason to beat on him, thinking that he's acting up because of a lack of discipline and manners. This of course affected Pun's performance in school. even though he was a smart kid that excelled in subjects like English and history. He supposedly had an obsession with the English language and reading comprehension, memorizing big words from the dictionary and trying to read every book he could get his hands on, which surprised many, as no one expected a kid from the ghetto with heroin junkies as parents to show any signs of academic potential or even interest. Unfortunately, that side of Pun was literally beaten out of him by his stepdad, to the point where they wouldn't even let him go to school, and instead go run some errands for them, which they could have and should have done themselves, as they were the parents. They sabotaged Pun's growth on purpose, to always have a little errand boy around that fulfills all their wishes, while they're busy experimenting with drugs.
Alright, let's go ahead for the people that already been here who've seen that DMX. Who parent worse? DMX mama or goddamn Big Pun mama? Who worse? God damn. Or both. This shit sad as hell, I ain't gonna lie.
Pun just lost the motivation, the drive and the energy to go to school. He started hating it, even though he was extremely bright. They would always tell him that his sister Nikki is smarter than him, even though she was more than 5 years younger. He desperately tried to prove them wrong and seek validation by learning big words from the dictionary every day, but they would just belittle him and not take him seriously. It really hurt him that they saw him as a disappointment. His intent was always to prove his worthiness, which always got shut down. He started stress eating at a very young age. He didn't put on much weight back then due to him being an errand boy and always playing outside with his friends. But the stress eating never stopped ever since his childhood and became not only an addiction but the new normal for him. All the issues and random responsibilities he had at home really prevented him from having a normal life just like everyone else. Not only did they ruin his childhood, but they also sabotaged his future. He wasn't even a teenager when his mother and stepdad told him to quit going to school and start making some money, making a kid feel like a parasite. That's the type of treatment he got from the only people in the world from whom you would expect unconditional love. His stepdad's PTSD caused a lot of problems in the marriage as well, because between 1981 and 82, when Pun was around 10 to 11 years old, his parents would always argue and fight. The PTSD would cause his stepdad to attack his mother, tie her up and try to stab her with his sword. In another incident, he dislocated her finger. And these fights would not only happen at home but also in public for the next couple of years. Their constant fights, both verbal and physical, often entertained everyone on the block. He would also take out his frustrations on Pun, who was so stressed out that he would punch holes into the walls in his bedroom, in every apartment they moved into. And he would continue eating rocks, but this time he would eat the crumbs of the rocks in the wall. Part of the stress was him missing his real father. Just like...
I don't know about eating them damn rocks. You eating rocks, so I don't know about that, twin. Serious right there.
All kids, he wanted love, attention and affection. His stepdad and mother gave him the complete opposite. That's why he would try to escape this environment by leaving the house. Between 1983 and 84, when Pun was at the age of 12, he started hanging out with older kids in the streets who would sell drugs and introduce them to a life of crime. He became a drug dealer and started making a lot of money, which he had to hand over to his mother and stepdad for the next 3 years until he was 15. That was around the time when his parents started using crack and cocaine, basically experimenting with all types of drugs in front of Pun and his sister Nikki. His mom even asked him for drugs directly, since he was selling, getting drugs and money out of him, while being too lazy and incompetent to actually provide for the family themselves. Sometimes they were so high that they slept 2 days straight, with Pun having to clean up after them. Pun also thought that it's probably better for him to find the best drugs to give to his mother instead of her going out to the streets and buying from random people who might give her a bad batch, something unsafe that might lead her to overdose. He and his sister had a little bit of a weight problem early on.
Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. Please. Please. Lord have mercy. Shit, heroin enough? You did crack and coke? Lord have mercy.
Wasn't completely out of control yet, but the two were slightly on the chubby side, even though they were poor. The main reason for it was their mother's lack of control over their eating habits. She didn't know anything about nutrition and what kids really need to become strong and healthy. She just thought that being fat is healthier than being skinny, and she didn't really care what her kids filled their stomachs with. So the kids could eat whatever they wanted. Their mother had credit in about every store on the block, from Chinese takeout down to the corner bodega. A lot of high-calorie snacks that don't really keep you full or give you enough nutrition for the day. They would eat nachos, sweets, all types of fast food, drink juice, would go to friends and eat there, then come back and eat at home as well, saying, "No, I didn't eat yet." They sometimes had 3 to 4 dinners in one night, using this method of hopping from one place to another for some free food. But back then, Pun was hyperactive and was also active physically. Was burning most of those calories outside, running from place to place or playing basketball. Back then they called him Goya Jordan, and then he later even started boxing. So his weight back then didn't really worry anyone. He was just a slightly chubby boy. The fights between his parents at home encouraged him to spend his free time outside, and that allowed him to eat at his friends all the time. In 1986, Pun got the news that his real father passed away, and that was another traumatic experience for him. He shut down emotionally, and his anger and aggressiveness issues worsened. One day he came home from school frantic because he knocked a guy unconscious in front of the school. He thought he killed him. And back home there was even more fighting going on, with Pun's mom and stepdad constantly arguing. Right before they split up and divorced, Pun's mother lied and accused his stepdad of hitting her with a horsewhip. She played victim in front of the cops to get him arrested. The police asked Pun's sister Nikki if she saw him beat up her mom, to which she said no, which didn't stop Pun's mom from making his stepdad leave. She was pissed that her daughter Nikki didn't lie to get him arrested, accusing her of defending him and throwing an ashtray at her. When her husband walked out to leave with his belongings, she told him to take his daughter with him, wanting to teach him a lesson, knowing that he will beg her to take her daughter back from him. Pun at the time was rarely at home, couldn't stand seeing his stepdad nor his junkie mother, but out of love for her he would occasionally check up on her, mainly to give her money and drugs. She was late on paying rent and barely had
money. That's a crazy thing, but I don't even know how you feel. You gotta give your mama drugs. I know that shit would tear his ass up inside. Like, god damn. I can't even explain that shit. No, how you doing, brother? Damn, that's fucked up, bro.
Money to buy groceries. One time she borrowed $2,500 from a doctor who gave her the money to have sexual relationships with her. But his plan didn't work out and he showed up at her front door with another man, wanting the money back, threatening to kill her if she didn't return it. His mom then sold her furniture, toys, kitchen appliances and other things to pay him the money back. But now the landlord was threatening to kick her out of the house because she was unable to pay her rent. By the time Pun was around the age of 14, his mother felt like he had a problem other than hyperactivity. They went to a doctor, but after just 3 visits, they refused to see him again, telling his mom to be careful, because Pun will either end up killed or he will kill somebody else, saying that he's gruesome, that he has a need to control, which his family believes was the reason why he was so controlling towards everybody. He needed psychological help, but never got it. He was evaluated and diagnosed as a potential sociopath, concluding that he had no empathy or sympathy for others, and no conscience. Some of the signs and red flags to his doctor were that he killed cats and dogs. As a kid, he used to throw them off of buildings and then laugh about it. This was all due to the psychological and physical abuse by his stepdad. He had unresolved trauma issues for the rest of his life, and psychological wounds that would never heal, causing his mental and even physical state to worsen day by day. His stepdad was more or less out of the picture now, but his mother's drug problems got even worse after the breakup. She would lock herself in the bathroom for hours and smoke crack, the same bathroom that her kids were using every day. They would notice a strange smell and even see aluminum foil in the bathroom and around the house. They also saw smoky, foggy-looking bottles with screw tops around the house, little jars with white residue laying around. And she would also start hanging out with some strange new friends, selling her body for money and drugs while getting high with strangers.
What the damn family members at? You ain't had no uncle in there? Leave the grandma or something. Damn. Oh Lord, both DMX and Big Pun, they had to be both. I agree, bro. Both. Shit, bro. I don't even know what to say, Chad.
She would go to the bathroom with them for long periods of time, while Pun and his sister were in the living room. Then she would start spending less and less time at home, and more on the streets. Sometimes she wouldn't come home at all. She was losing weight drastically and didn't really care to raise her kids, making them stay with strangers who were all drug addicts, forcing her kids to stay at a welfare house in Manhattan, surrounded by other low-income, poverty-stricken families. It was a disgusting and filthy place with shared bathrooms and toilets, drug addicts sleeping right next to kids, all types of filth. The last place you'd want your kids to live in. When Pun's sister returned home, she turned white and had to go to the hospital, suffering from a severe case of walking pneumonia. Doctors said that she would have died if she waited any longer. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks, fighting for her life. Pun was there crying, begging her on his knees to not die. She was around 8 years old back then, and Pun 14. The two then had to endure the bullying from people in the neighborhood, making fun of their mother, saying things like, "At least my mother ain't a crackhead," or "I saw your mom in Hunts Point selling her body for money." Pun and his sister Nikki were embarrassed and hurt, becoming resentful for the simple fact that they had to deal with the consequences, even though it wasn't even their fault.
I'll tell you, I want to end this shit so damn bad, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it did damn point. Like, this shit hurt my damn heart, but I hate hearing shit like this, bro. Like, damn, I thought we were gonna get into some hip hop shit. This motherfucker gonna turn into a goddamn soap opera so damn fast. Like, damn.
It was all because of their incompetent and reckless parents.
Jeez.
Pun would ask himself, why can't I have a normal childhood like everyone else? The older he got, the more his mom's condition bothered him. He had a hard time dealing with her drug abuse. He became self-destructive. That was also around the time when the injuries he sustained from the accident years prior started to resurface, causing a discomfort while walking. The doctor also noticed that one knee was growing taller than the other. That's one of the reasons why he always walked with a limp. Another reason was of course his weight gain. But both problems obviously affected each other. His injuries and deformed body contributed to his weight gain as they prevented him from continuing to do sports like basketball and boxing. And the more he gained weight, the harder it was for his legs to carry him, deforming his legs even further and making him limp more. He also started to get into trouble while hanging in the streets. He got arrested for the first time after selling drugs for 3 years. He tried to run away from the cops but was then sent to the precinct near Story Avenue, spending the night in jail. This experience really scared him to death, and he swore to himself that he would never sell drugs again or do anything illegal. He never wanted to be in a cage again. But when he brought the news to his mother that he would stop selling drugs, she kicked him out of the house and forced him to live on the streets, right before he reached the age of 15, meaning in 1986. But becoming homeless and being back on the streets, walking from place to place with a limp, looking for shelter, with no one to rely on, made him go back on his word and start selling drugs again. His mother was unable to pay the bills and rent, so she and her daughter moved in with Pun's grandmother. Pun himself wasn't invited to come with her, but they had to move out anyway shortly after, because of the constant fights with Pun's grandmother. They then moved in with Pun's aunt, but he was once again not invited to come. Actually, they went no contact for a while. His mom didn't care what happened to him. He went from house to house looking for a place to sleep. Sometimes he would spend the night under a bridge, on park benches, or in abandoned apartments. His mother and sister then started to steal food from department stores. And they would also steal clothing to sell them in the hood, cause his mom had no job. Around the same time, Pun met his junior high school sweetheart Liza. If it wasn't for him being left back in 7th grade, he wouldn't have met her in 8th grade. On April 8th, 1987, Pun asked Liza to be his girlfriend. And that was the beginning of Pun's first and only relationship. She was Pun's whole world at the time. They had plans for the future and even introduced each other to their families. But then Liza's dad moved her up to Long Island to get away from him, cause he felt like Pun was a bad influence on her, which of course made him very depressed. He once again started to eat a lot. For months they went through the whole I miss you phase and tried to sneak out and see each other. Pun was just about to turn 16. His mom then started dating a new guy who owned his own business. She made Pun and his sister move into his office temporarily, while her new man looked for a new house with a pool where they all could live in. They all fell for it. Pun and his sister lived in a filthy office with a rat problem. It was near the Yankee Stadium. Pun was so depressed that he thought of hurting himself to make sure that his girlfriend Liza can visit him in the hospital. One day he threw himself from a storage unit above the office. They called the ambulance and rushed him to the hospital. This kid had already problems with his knees and legs after breaking them multiple times in his childhood. And now he's doing the same thing again, damaging his body. The stunts he pulled actually worked and brought these two lovebirds back together. Pun's mom and sister then moved into an apartment together where her drug problems worsened once again. His sister was only 10 years old and had to stay with an irresponsible junkie who turned the apartment into a drug house with no furniture. It was always filled with her junkie friends and drugs that her mom would either consume or Pun would sell to customers. One time Pun couldn't find the drugs he stashed and accused his mom of stealing them. In a panic, Pun stressed to her that he could get in serious trouble or get killed over this. She quickly denied the accusations and said that she doesn't care if he gets killed, which of course hurt Pun's feelings. He was just 16 years old. And she was the reason why Pun even went back to selling drugs, forcing him to make money that way. During the heat of the argument, Pun said that he was leaving, and his mom told him to go. So he once again left for a few months and they cut contact. It was during this time period when his mother started to neglect Pun's sister Nikki by leaving her all alone for days.
Look, I can't stand that sad shit no more. I ain't gonna lie. We gonna get into the rap shit. I ain't gonna lie. You shit hurt my damn heart. I can't take it no more.
In 1995, he was already over 400 pounds heavy, over 180 kilograms, meaning within 2 years he gained over 100 additional pounds, 45 kilograms, on top of the 300 pounds he had in 1993. Around that time, he was really trying to get his rapping career going. One day he met the Puerto Rican rap legend Fat Joe on 166th Street and Tinton Avenue, and this was in summer '95. He came to Fat Joe's neighborhood for his projects. Fat Joe would always go to the bodega nearby and get himself a little Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke and some chips. He pulled up by himself with a white Lexus LS 400, walked inside the shop, bought a soda and came out. All of a sudden he saw 4 Spanish MCs rapping in front of the bodega. They weren't even there when Joe went inside the building, but they stood there on purpose, wanting Joe to notice them. The one that stood out the most was Big Pun, who called himself Big Moondog at the time. The other 3 were members of his crew Full Eclipse, which later became Terror Squad. Joe was surprised to see a fat Puerto Rican rapper that's even fatter than him. He walked to his car and Pun told his group, "Chill, chill, y'all. Chill, chill." interrupting the cipher so that he can speak with Joe. Pun wanted to rhyme for him, so Joe stopped and listened to him. After hearing him rap, he knew that he was one of the great ones and decided to work with him. He was impressed by his rhyme chains and unbelievable breath control. The guy was under 6 feet, about 5'7", 5'8". He was easily 400 pounds, maybe even 450. His humongous stature separated him visually from his friends, but his words distinguished him from anybody on the planet. I'd never heard anybody in my life like him. Joe then opened up the passenger door and said, "Please, get in." The minute Pun sat in the car, he started telling his life story, and the two bonded automatically, becoming close like brothers. He told him about his drug-addicted mom kicking him out when he was 15, about him becoming homeless, forced to sell drugs, his uncle telling him to go eat rocks, his stepdad abusing him, his depression. He unloaded all his trauma as if Joe is a therapist. To Pun, he became something like an older brother he never had. "You're my big brother. You're the Don," Pun said. Joe wanted to take Pun directly to the studio, but he stopped him and introduced him to his wife Liza. Later that night, Joe brought him to the studio. He was just wrapping up his sophomore album Jealous One's Envy when he decided to put Pun on the songs Say Word and Watch Out. Watch Out features the same lyrics he spit when they first met. In October 95, he then put Pun on a record called Firewater, produced by Showbiz from DITC. He then got a $100,000 check from Loud Records when Pun got signed to the label weeks later. He used that money to buy Pun some jewelry. Afterwards, he signed him to Terror Squad Records. And from there, he started making appearances on different songs, music videos, and radio shows. In early 97, they started working on Pun's debut album Capital Punishment. He was a huge fan of the notorious B.I.G. That was one of the first artists he wanted to work with, cause Big was the king of New York and Pun wanted to get on his level. This was right when Big had finished his double LP Life After Death. On March 7th, 2 days before he passed, he called Joe and talked about a possible Big Pun and Biggie collaboration. He and Joe were already friends, and as
Bone Thugs Harmony. I love Bone Thugs.
Another one.
I gotta find a documentary on Bone Thugs Harmonies, how they grew up and shit too. I gotta find one.
As luck would have it, Big had already Pun on his radar at the time. According to Fat Joe, Big really liked Pun as an MC and respected him for his lyrical wordplay. Joe proposed the idea of doing a song for Pun's album, to which Big agreed. But then he got killed 2 days later on March 9th, and the collaboration never happened. Everybody knew that Biggie was the king of New York, and now with him gone, the throne was empty. Pun wanted the crown for himself and wanted to fill Big's shoes. So they started recording the album, and Joe immediately noticed how he was different from all the MCs he worked with. Pun would always fall asleep in the studio due to exhaustion from carrying around all those extra pounds. People would then wake him up and he would go in the booth and record his vocals almost as if he was writing rhymes in his sleep. But he was always exhausted and had a hard time sitting in the studio without falling asleep, even with the music bumping at full volume. A year later, on April 28, 1998, the album Capital Punishment then came out and shook up the rap scene. It went platinum in July 98, just 3 months after its release. He became a legend in the streets, the first Latin solo rap artist to reach platinum status. He would give out money to homeless people, buy them food and hug them, take pictures with them to make them feel special. There was a time when he was homeless too, so he understood what they were going through and sympathized with them. But this infuriated his mother. With all the money he quote-unquote threw away to homeless people and neighborhood kids, his mom definitely felt like she was entitled to some of that money, since she gave birth to him. With her son being a popular rap star, she made sure to ask all she can. She drove him crazy, kept asking for money, and it often led to her telling him degrading things. She left crazy messages on the voicemail of his record label, and was stressing him out by reopening old wounds. According to his sister Nikki, she was blackmailing him, saying that if he doesn't give her money, she will call the label or hip-hop magazines and tell everyone how he doesn't support his mother. As much as his mother drove him nuts, he liked the fact that he was needed, made him finally feel accepted and powerful. Pun loved her so much that he wanted to spoil her, even though she was a greedy, narcissistic psycho who cared more about drugs than her kids and grandkids. Pun told his sister Nikki that everyone thinks that he's wealthy, when in reality he had to always sell his jewelry just to give his mother some money and to get her off his back. And the reason why he was always short on money was a spending problem. Now that he finally had money, he was out of control, wasting everything in a short amount of time without thinking about the future. Spending all his money not just on food, but also jewelry, chains, clothes, new accessories, luxury items, material things, everything that's flashy. Fat Joe always criticized him for that, cause Joe had a spending problem too. He would spend $50,000 a month on clothes alone, and Pun was supposedly spending even more than that, without saving anything for a rainy day. He was very short-sighted, wasn't really thinking about the future.
Y'all just spend all them damn clothes. Y'all ain't gonna get no land, nothing like that. Shit. They be here to be up against a land, bro. Fuck up.
Which is also reflected by his weight problems. He was like, I don't care, I'm ballin' now. He felt like weight watching and eating healthy, being on a diet, is something ballers don't do. Cause he was quote unquote starving and living healthy while he was poor and homeless, living a humble life when he had nothing. Money was the tool of his downfall, but it made Pun happy that he could support his mother now. All his life they told him to man up, to go get money, that he is useless, not deserving sympathy or a place to stay. And now finally he became the man that they wanted him to be. Aside from his stressful relationship with his mother, Pun also had problems with his wife. He would let out all his anger and frustrations on Liza, take out all the pain and trauma he had on his wife. Every time his mother reopened his wounds, he would take it out on Liza, cause he felt like she was the only person he could be vulnerable around. In front of everyone else, he was wearing a mask, pretending that everything is fine. Then he would come home and dump all his emotions on the person that was closest to him. And sometimes he became abusive, both physically and mentally.
Yo, I changed my life, make my wife forget the tears from the pain and the physical abuse, give her back her best years.
He would also cheat on her with groupies and fans who would throw themselves at him now that he's famous. Pun would sleep around but only love his wife. At least that's how he rationalized it.
Damn.
And he would even tell his wife about it. She knew that he was constantly sleeping around. It was almost like a one-sided open marriage for him. To show Liza that he would never replace her, he would buy her jewelry and quote-unquote make up for it with material things, which of course contributed to his spending problem. Pun was always straightforward with his cheating and made it clear that it's purely a physical thing. His wife, on the other hand, had numerous love affairs and cheated behind his back. Pun was at least honest and straightforward about it. One day, Pun's sister Nikki got a phone call from her, and she wanted to confess. She was in tears and extremely worried, since she got herself into a situation she didn't know how to get out of. Liza expressed to her that she cheated on her brother for the past year and a half, meaning since early '97. The affair partner was the son of a grocery store owner down the block.
Not the grocery
She
store.
wanted to leave Pun, saying that her affair partner is holding her stash of money.
Not the grocery store, man. Yeah, damn, boy. Oh, mercy. Jeez.
Money for her. She'd been saving up the money that Pun would give her. Liza even said that she was not in love with Pun anymore, and that she tried to make it work for their 3 kids, saying that she's been planning to leave him for a while now, and that the new guy is not the reason for it. Liza's mom knew about the affair the whole time and encouraged her to leave. Pun's sister Nikki never told him. So these 3 women kept it a secret, and Liza kept cheating on him while he was away.
Now, my sister,
Word started to spread around.
My sister, well, she did tell him, but you should have told me all the gates, and you know what I'm saying? Whew. Who y'all think worse, DMX or goddamn Big Pun situation? Cause I can't. Lord have mercy. Jesus.
Around in the streets, and Pun eventually found out about it. That was another devastating blow to his mental health, and he started eating even more. The affair partner was then dealt with. They supposedly beat him up and made him leave town.
Damn.
That was Liza's first affair, but not her last. She hit closer to home later. Pun always thought that, aside from his siblings, Liza was the only woman he could fully trust. Someone he thought loved him unconditionally, while all his other family members loved him under the condition that he provides. And if not, they threw him out like garbage. So Pun found out that Liza thought of him the same way as all the others, that he's not enough. That had been one of Pun's biggest insecurities growing up. She stabbed him in the back just like Pun's mom did during his childhood. Someone for whom he made a lot of sacrifices. Liza was the only positive thought he had in his youth. He went through a depression during their time apart, and the first thing he did after getting a lot of money was to marry her. Marrying her was all that was on his mind while he was homeless, poor, and struggling from all the trauma. And now he found out that it was all for nothing. And it contributed heavily to his weight problem. One day he told his sister, "Nikki, you don't know Liza like I do. She's not as innocent as you think." That was confirmation for her that he had found out about her first affair, without Nikki telling him anything. And he was now suspecting that Liza is seeing another guy. She would cheat on him while Pun was either out the house or when Liza was out to run some errands, with Pun resting on the sofa too tired to move. She would sneak around, hide money for her escape, and do all types of messed up things behind his back, thinking that she could outsmart him. But Pun installed a hidden camera in the room to catch her in the act. And that's how he found out about everything. He saw the footage of his wife cuddling, smoking weed, and kissing on his couch, with none other than Pun's paternal brother, all while Pun was out touring. This is the same brother that Pun didn't want in his house. He had told Liza to not let him in, so she not only disobeyed him, but also cheated with him, after Pun had already forgiven her for the first affair. But that's the reason why there was a camera in the house. The footage of Pun pistol whipping his wife came from that exact camera. He placed it there to catch his wife in the act and uncover her cheating. By that time, Pun had already seen the footage and the two were constantly arguing. Pun had assaulted her quite a few times by then, to the point where their kids informed Pun's sister Pina about it, and she had to interfere. She actually paid him a visit with her husband, but Pun tried to convince her that he never put his hands on her, which was obviously a lie. Pina saw it with her own eyes. Pun and Liza were still in war mode the day the footage of the pistol whipping was taken. It all started because Pun was looking for his gun, and he couldn't find it in the spot he usually hid it. Liza and Pun then went back and forth, accusing each other of having moved the gun. But it was actually the husband of Pun's sister Pina, cause it was just laying there out in the open where the kids could reach it. But Pun thought it was another thing that Liza did behind his back, and the whole thing turned into an argument. She was already hiding things from him, like her cheating and his money, for example. And now Pun is under the impression that she's doing the same thing with the guns. With Liza being in full control of the guns, Pun would be helpless and powerless in his own house. He thought Liza took his guns to use them against him during their next fight, so he was getting angry about it. Liza was then informed by Pun's sister that her husband hid it behind the bed, so she went and gave Pun the gun. But to him, it seemed like she only gave it back because Pun put the pressure on her. He didn't know that it was Pina's husband that hid it, and Liza was talking back the whole time. So Pun got mad, and as she turned to walk away, he hit her with the Mac-10, making her fall on the sofa. He then leaned over her and continued yelling. After exchanging a couple of words, he then smacked her on the side of the face with a gun. Liza then screamed out in pain and ran upstairs to get the shotgun, ready to shoot him if the argument escalated any further. Pun couldn't walk up the stairs. He just looked up and yelled at her, telling her to come down and talk it out. She then left and they didn't see each other for a whole month. This incident did not just happen because he was mad about a gun. He was also mad at her because of the cheating. Her infidelity had been eating him alive mentally. Last time a rapper that called himself the King of New York got cheated on by his wife, they tried to turn him into the biggest joke ever.
That nigga had to slide Biggie in there, huh? Woo! Nah, I think Faithful worse. I think Faithful worse than Big Pun goddamn wife. She ain't give a damn.
Which almost cost him his career. And Pun was definitely not going to let that happen. He had already enough problems, both mentally and physically. But yeah, just like Biggie, he got cheated on by his wife. So it was eating him alive.
Hold on now. Both of y'all, you and Biggie did cheat first. You know what I'm saying? Biggie was cheating Lil' Kim. You know what I'm saying? That what made Faith cheat with Tupac and all the other people. You know what I'm saying? And Big Pun, you cheated with the girl first when you got on. You know what I'm saying? She cheated back, so you gotta see a fair game, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No one could ever find out about this. That this big gangster Pun does not have his woman in check, giving the impression that he's something like a cock that pretends to be a gangster. It would have definitely damaged his reputation and career. They then reconciled and decided to stay together for the kids. Pun was also dependent on her. He couldn't even use the shower or the toilet without her help. Pun weighed around 500 pounds at this point. He signed up to a gym to lose some of that weight, but quickly gave up on it. His wife then tried to change his diet by buying healthy food, but Pun managed to manipulate the people around him into buying him junk food without anyone noticing. So he would pretend to eat healthy with his wife, but then when she wasn't around, he would let others buy him food and then eat in secret. His mom would cook him healthy meals, and he would pretend to stick to the diet, while fully knowing that she would go to bed at around 10 p.m. That's when his friends would bring him buckets of food while his mom was asleep. He made little kids buy him chicken nuggets and sneak them into his room without anyone noticing. Even Fat Joe's wife would buy him food without Joe's knowledge. Just like during his childhood when he would lie to his mother about not having eaten yet, just to get some additional meals, he was lying to the members of the terror squad, saying that he hasn't eaten yet and that they should go get something to eat. He figured out a system to get food from all directions without having to lift a finger, pretending to be on a diet and watching his weight. He was only fooling himself, thinking he's doing himself a favor by fooling others, who were only trying to help him. And to make things clear, not everyone tried to help him. He had a lot of yes men around him. And that obviously contributed to his rapid weight gain. Even after reaching a point where you would assume that it's physically impossible for him to get even bigger than that. The yes men, his ego, the trauma, and the stress eating made him go down a slippery slope, and things only seemed to get worse and worse. Now he had to worry about his newfound fame and career. Always had a tight schedule, touring, shooting videos, recording songs, not just for himself but also for his crew, the Terror Squad. Fat Joe's third album was just about to drop. Pun understood that Biggie's legendary phrase, "more money, more problems," wasn't just a meaningless, braggadocious line. It reflected the truth, cause the whole world expected him to be this super lyrical superstar that drops one hit after another, out-rapping his competition with every verse he drops, having a strong impact on the culture with every album, holding the game in a chokehold, just like the deceased King of New York, the notorious B.I.G., all while being a couple 100 pounds overweight, cause that had become part of his brand, the thing he was most known for, and he kinda felt like he had to be fat. thinking that that's what his fans love him for. They would look at him differently if he was skinny. So losing weight wasn't really that high on his priority list. But soon he would realize that his weight actually affects his career. How are you supposed to be this untouchable, godlike figure in hip-hop when you're a wreck not only physically but also psychologically and emotionally? Diagnosed as a sociopath with PTSD and depression, childhood trauma, eating disorder, and enough money to buy himself as much food as he wants. All this contributed to his weight gain. In December 98, Pun came to Miami to visit his family, and they went to the doctor together to get a health check for him. The doctor asked him, "Do you want to see your kids grow up? Do you want to be able to do things with them?" To which Pun said yes, and he even expressed what bothered him, saying that he would like to fit on the rides again at the amusement park, so that he can ride the rides with his kids. The doctor said, "If that's what you want, you need to start changing your eating habits and start getting in control of yourself, or you won't make it to see the millennium." So the doctor told him that he might die within a year if he continues. After that, Pun had everyone buying him fruits, but it didn't last long. He continued making people buy him junk food. In February 1999, Nicki and Pun went to the fast food restaurant chain White Castle in the Bronx, and he ordered a 24-piece family pack.
Hey, White House is good. You never had White. I had, what's it called? Crystal? What they call Crystal? I ain't never had White House. I seen the movie though. White House good. I mean White Castle. Well, you say that shit. I don't see them down south like that.
Then he turned to Nicki and said, "Order what you want, Nicki." And she was like, "I thought you just ordered for all of us." To which he responded, "Nah, that's for me." He went right back to consuming fast food, like a chain smoker smoking one cigarette after another. During the Grammys on February 24th, 1999, Pun begged Joe to leave the event shortly after walking on the red carpet, before the show even began, due to him being in pain because of his weight. He called a couple of doctors to inform himself about the price for a possible weight loss surgery. He was determined to get it done, even though he was scared of doctors and surgeries. But then one of his family members told him that it was too dangerous, and Pun immediately changed his mind. It was around the time when he couldn't even perform on stage anymore, as he was always out of breath, always tired, couldn't stand for more than a couple of minutes, which obviously affected his career, cause it doesn't make sense to do shows when you can't even rap 50% of the lyrics due to your breathing problems. Even though one of the key reasons why you're so respected in the game is your breath control. He had these super long rhyme chains that he would rap fast, but he couldn't perform them on stage anymore, as he was out of breath due to his weight. Sometimes during shows, he would have to take breaks while his hype man kept the crowd engaged. So they stopped touring entirely. Afterwards, he rarely left the house. He would go weeks without stepping foot outside. They would tell him, "Let's take the kids to the amusement park." And Pun would respond, "How am I supposed to do that? I can't even walk." They offered to get him a motorized wheelchair, to which he responded, "Oh yeah, Pun in a motorized wheelchair. How cool." Just the thought of that was embarrassing to him. He didn't want to be seen in public in that state. All weak and frail, can't even stand for longer than a minute. And he was now a superstar, so people recognized him everywhere he went. All eyes were on him. He didn't want to get laughed at or belittled. Some of his friends would ask him to consider weight loss surgery like a gastric bypass, but he would laugh it off and dismiss it. So he continued staying at home every day, watching TV, while his condition gradually got worse and worse. People would bring food to his doorstep, and he wouldn't even go to the door to bring it inside. It was brought right in front of him to the table. His physical activity was limited to him going from the bed to the couch, to the toilet, then back to the couch, and then back to the bed to go to sleep. Rinse and repeat for weeks and weeks. By the end of March 99, Pun was so big that he had little ulcers all over his body, especially his belly. He weighed over 550 pounds. Shit. His legs were as gray as an elephant's trunk and almost as hard as a rock. His wife had to bathe him in the kitchen with a water hose, cause he didn't fit into the bathroom. His toilet was put in the kitchen too, so he would defecate at the same place he ate. His bed was in the dining area, and his chair was a black seat taken from a van. He needed a lot of help just to survive. And although you could tell Liza preferred not to, she still catered to him hand and foot. She would clean him, wash him, help him on the toilet, help him to dress, basically helped him to survive. He couldn't even sleep properly because he had problems breathing. If he sat down, it was hard for him to get up again. And sometimes he would even fall asleep in the middle of conversations. He would often feel physical pain. Back pain, lung pain, heart pain, leg pain. His feet and sometimes even his sides would hurt. So he was a complete wreck. Getting him to do any type of physical activity was a challenge, especially when you're dealing with someone as stubborn as Pun. And the more he gained weight, the more depressed he got. According to Nikki, Pun knew that he was going to die soon, and that's why he was supposedly trying to prepare his kids for the outside world by teaching them boxing very early on, before they even went to school. There was blood on the boxing gloves of the kids. He would wake them up at 3 in the morning and make them box each other. Kinda similar to how his stepdad treated him, with him coming into his room late at night and making him do push-ups. Looking back, you could say that Pun more or less turned into someone that resembles his stepdad in many ways. He was abusive, very strict to his kids before they even started going to school, and instead of being addicted to drugs, Pun was addicted to food. So it's not like he became the exact opposite of the person he hated the most. He became a more likable and empathetic version of him. You could still tell that he would die for his kids and wife. He loved playing with them, and they were his whole world. In mid-June 1999, Pun, his friends and family got together to go to the cinema and watch the movie Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. This was one of the very few times he got out the house, and Pun was really excited to see it. It was a comedy movie, so he thought it would cheer him up, cause the past few months he was in terrible condition. Especially with him gaining over 100 pounds in less than a year. In one particular scene, there was this character called Fat Bastard, who opened up about being sad because of his weight.
I can't stop eating. I eat because I'm unhappy. And I'm unhappy because I eat. It's a vicious cycle.
Everyone in the cinema was laughing, except Pun, who started crying, cause he saw himself in that character, feeling every word he said, especially the part where he said that he's sad because he can't stop eating, and that his unhappiness forces him to eat, which once again makes him unhappy and makes him eat more, a vicious cycle that he can't get out of. Pun said that it was like watching himself on screen, cause everything that the character said was exactly how he felt about himself. The whole cinema was laughing, so he felt like everyone was laughing at him. He was now almost 600 pounds heavy, and his health was so bad that everyone around him thought that he was slowly dying. People offered to take him to the doctor to get him checked, and he would reject it, saying that he doesn't want anyone to see him go there, cause that would make him look quote-unquote weak, frail and uncool. He valued the opinion his fans and haters had of him over his own health, risking his life to keep up his reputation and image. He wanted people to see him as a strong and powerful gangster, not as a sick and frail loser who has to go to the doctor because he's too fat. He was embarrassed by even the thought of it, so the doctors and his family had to find a way around that. Get him checked without anyone seeing him. They managed to sneak him into the doctor's office through the back door, without anyone noticing. And during the consultation, the doctor scared him to death by saying that he could die at any moment, and that it's a miracle that he's still alive. After that, he enrolled in a weight loss program at Duke University in North Carolina. Some people call it a fat farm. Pun wanted to lose weight badly, but it was very hard for him. He said that the food there was disgusting, and that the serving size wouldn't even fill up a 5-year-old child. But there he found a new hobby, which was swimming. He learned how easy it was to move around while being in the water. He could move around very easily, as if he's not overweight. That reminded him of the days when he was younger and more active. It not only gave him hope, but also made him see progress.
It's hard work, baby. I just lost 100 pounds. I'm trying to live. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying alive, baby.
Pun spent a month and a half at the Fat Farm, where he finished his sophomore album Yeah Baby. He had already started working on it in early '99 when his health started to go downhill. They had to bring a bed to the studio and let him record while laying on it. But with his health worsening, they had to take a break, and then continued at the Fat Farm. But compared to his first album, you could notice that he really had problems with his breath control. And that's obviously because he had breathing problems throughout the recording process of the album, which ended up slowing down his signature flow. After losing about 100 pounds, he begged Fat Joe and his family to allow him to quit the program and go back to New York, telling them that he learned what to do, promising them that he'll lose the weight on his own, and they fell for it, allowing him to leave the Fat Farm against the doctor's advice, because they had planned to let him stay there until he's down to around 200 pounds. So he still had to lose around 300 more pounds. Still morbidly obese and in mortal danger. But he missed New York and talked his way out of the program. And shortly after, he unfortunately once again lost control, while having everyone convinced that he's doing alright, because he had just lost 100 pounds, which was a huge achievement. He was carrying the achievement around like a trophy, trying to convince people that he can still lose weight if he wants to, shutting everyone down who's worried for him.
But they we just did. I didn't know these DMX and Big Pun stories gonna be this damn sad. For y'all that missed the DMX, when I in stream, y'all can go back and watch it yourself, or y'all can go to his name is Hip Hop Universe. Y'all can go to Track Story DMX yourself if y'all want to watch on your own time. But tomorrow Monday I am going back to Tupac. Y'all already know how we do. You know we thug life. Going back to Tupac tomorrow. Then Tuesday I'll probably do like Nas or Jay-Z or something like Mobb Deep. I'll do something like that. Then we'll do like R. Kelly and Leah. R. Kelly, then I do it. R. Kelly, Leah, and Jay-Z. All that. Learn what all went on. Things of that nature.
With all the yes men around him, it was also very difficult for him to self-improve and change his ways, especially when you are as respected as Pun. A lot of people felt like they weren't in a position to tell Pun how to live his life, especially with him being a very stubborn man that only listens to himself. He also didn't want his weight loss journey to slow down his rapping career, so he went right back to the same routine he had in '98. When he gained around 150 pounds in no time, all while working on music and building his career. One of the first songs he recorded after coming out of the Fat Farm was a track about his mother called Mama, which was actually intended for the album After Yeah Baby, his third studio album Endangered Species, which later became a compilation album due to Pun's untimely demise. His sister Nikki was there when they recorded the song. The two actually got into a little argument about their spouses. Pun asked, "Did your husband ever cheat on you?" And Nikki replied, "Before worrying about what is going on in my house, you need to worry about what your wife is doing when you're not around." She was speaking in reference to Liza's affair with the guy at the bodega in Bronx River, and also the long-time affair.
She don't give a damn. Grocery store to the bodega, but I use it. Shit, girl. She don't give a damn. Do some damn food though. You know what I'm saying?
With Pun's paternal brother. Liza looked at her with the most angry face she had ever seen while sitting beside Pun. In fall '99, he started regaining all his weight. He was once again manipulating everyone around him into buying him food, making them feel bad for him. And they gave him what he wanted, like a little kid with puppy eyes convincing his parents to buy him food from McDonald's, even though there's healthy food waiting at home. Some people he even threatened with physical violence after they told him to slow down. Others he would threaten to kick out the team. So he found ways to get what he wanted from everybody. Within just 6 months, he gained almost 200 pounds back. That's over 1 pound a day on average.
Damn.
So he not only passed the 600 pound mark, which made them sign him to the fat farm, but he also gained an additional 100 pounds and reached 700 pounds. 317 kilograms. He would pay his mother and Nikki a visit in Florida, begging them to make him mac and cheese. He ate 3 bowls of mac and cheese, a bunch of pork chops, and a few slices of bread with butter. That night, he once again got into an argument with Nikki after opening up about his stepdad abusing him decades ago. It was still bothering him during the last weeks he was alive. He told Nikki that she should remember that her father abused him, but she didn't remember ever witnessing any form of physical abuse. Nearly in tears and obviously frustrated, Pun kept asking her how she can't remember it. And Nikki responded, "Do you mean sexually?" And he said no. He told her to stop playing stupid, asking her why she never defended him. Why does everyone want to be defended, but no one ever does that for me? He was bothered by the fact that Nikki didn't remember something that mentally scarred him for life. And he felt like no one understood him. Mentally and physically, it was going downhill for him during his final days.
Bro, your streams are official. I appreciate that, twin.
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
I appreciate you, twin. Every time you come through, I appreciate you.
Around 2 weeks before his death, Liza noted that his body began to deteriorate from the obesity, and that when he ate, he frequently vomited, and his skin appeared unhealthy. Pun's wife supposedly said, "I don't feel Chris is going to be around much longer." And people used that phrase against her after he passed away 2 weeks later. Around that time, Pun asked Liza what she thinks of having another baby. Cause Pun wanted a huge family with as many babies as possible. He loved kids, loved playing with them and raising them. But Liza felt like it wasn't the right timing. They had enough problems already. And his weight didn't make it possible anyway. So he promised her to lose weight and get healthy, so that they can have more kids. He wanted to start swimming again, to burn calories.
People, you couldn't perform, but you too big, but you couldn't perform, but yeah. Yeah, they don't want you cheating. Yeah. So.
Just like at the Fat Farm. On February 5th, 2000, 2 days before Pun passed, he was supposed to perform on NBC's Saturday Night Live, together with Fat Joe and Jennifer Lopez. But he didn't appear due to illness, and because he didn't feel comfortable appearing on TV weighing 700 pounds. He was actually spending time with his family at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in White Plains, New York. Today the hotel is called Sonesta White Plains downtown. They had rented a suite for a couple weeks and were staying there while their home was being renovated. The hotel owners allowed them to stay in the pool as long as they wanted, and he just loved swimming with the kids. This is actually the last footage of him alive, playing with his kids in the pool until late at night.
So last time he was alive, February the 6th, 2000? Damn, that was like 26 years ago. Like 26 years ago.
Night 4 in the morning, February 6th, which was his last full day on Earth. I love being in the pool, cause I don't feel my weight. I feel normal. I can run around, I can jump. I can move like I used to. He really envied people who could walk and run normally. People would approach him and say that they're jealous of him because he's such a huge superstar now. And Pun would respond that he envies them for being able to walk, saying that he would give up his fame if he could get his health back. On February 6th, Pun went back in the studio to record a couple more songs for the album After a Year Baby, which again he wanted to call Endangered Species. And then in the evening, he spoke to his sister Pina about a possible weight loss surgery. He said, "Pina, tell me something. You think that stomach stapling thing, you think it really works?" And she enthusiastically responded, "Yes," because she didn't expect him to ever think about it again after the last time they spoke about it a year ago, when he backed out of doing it because he was too scared. He said, "I think I want to do it. Well, Chris, I'll do everything I got to do. I'll call the doctors tomorrow. On Monday when I get back, I'll call the doctors. I'll figure out where, what you got to do, how much it costs, and we'll do this. You'll come and stay in Florida?" "Yeah, I'll come and stay in Florida. I'll come and stay with you. You're going to take care of me though, right?" "I'll take care of you. I'll do everything I got to do." "No, I'm just saying. You're going to have to help me through it if I do it." And she said, "I will do anything I'll have to help you through this. We're gonna do this? We're gonna do this. I don't want to sleep tonight. I want to stay up all night. Let's go to the pool." And she said, "My flight leaves at 6 in the morning. I'm going to sleep." And he said, "No, let's go to the pool." So they all went to the pool and spent time together through the night. Pun then went to bed very late and slept for one last time. On February 7th, early in the morning, Pun's sister Pina searched for a place to get the surgery done. She then called Pun's wife Liza at 9 a.m., telling her to wake up Pun, because she found a couple places for the surgery. But Liza didn't want to wake him up because he was still exhausted from all the swimming the night prior. He was tired and resting. 2 hours later, at around 11 a.m., Liza called her back, saying that Pun has trouble breathing. He asked for 8 glasses of water, as if he's dehydrated, and Liza didn't know what to do. Pina then told her to call the doctor, but he unfortunately was on vacation and couldn't come. They then agreed to wait a little longer and see if he'll feel better. 3 hours later, at 2 p.m., Liza had a weird feeling about it and thought that something bad will happen. So she told her assistant to take the kids to her mother's house. Pun supposedly told Liza not to call an ambulance, but she did it regardless because she was scared. He was laying on the bed with his tongue sticking out, saliva coming out of his mouth. She tried to pick him up so that he can sit upright, but then he started shaking. Now this is the part that everyone disagrees on.
Damn, that's crazy. They had a picture together. DMX and Big Pun. Both of them had bad childhood. God damn. Shit.
According to Liza, who again was the only person in the room with him, she thought that he is dying on her. And the first thing she did was call Fat Joe, telling him that something is wrong with Pun. And this phone conversation supposedly took place at around 2 p.m. Joe, on the other hand, said that the call happened very early in the morning, with Liza supposedly saying that Pun is dead, not that he's dying or that he's sick. According to Joe, Liza kept saying, "He's gone, he's gone." And Joe then supposedly asked, "Where you at? Where you at?" Joe was in Jersey when he got the call. He rushed to the hotel within 15 minutes. Then there's Nikki's side of the story. She was in Florida when all this transpired, and she said that Joe got the call before Pun passed, and he was supposedly wondering why Liza even called him, instead of directly calling emergency.
Yeah.
She also said that Liza did not give him CPR because Pun had foam in his mouth, and she was disgusted. According to Liza, right when she hung up the phone during the call with Joe, Pun's pulse was absent, and he stopped breathing. He suffered a heart attack and respiratory failure, and that's supposedly when the paramedics came in. Cuban Link was actually in the shower when his wife got the call. He drove directly to the hotel and saw him laying there. Fat Joe came in when the paramedics were still performing CPR on him. According to him, Pun was already gone, but they kept working on him, pumping his chest. They didn't manage to resuscitate him. Everyone sat around his body, and the EMS technicians then let them have time with him alone, giving them a chance to say goodbye to him. Everyone was overwhelmed. According to Cuban Link, Pun was laying on the ground for a long time. He even tried to wake him up, checked on him, and then went to the bathroom to wash his face to see if he's dreaming. Last thing they ever imagined was Pun losing his life. Joe went into a deep depression after that. At the hotel, they brought sheets and blankets to tie his hands and feet so that they can put him on the dolly and roll him out. He didn't fit on the gurney, so they had to get creative. They took out the bed and everything else inside the ambulance so that Pun could fit, and then drove him to the White Plains Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival at 3:53 p.m. He was just 28 years old and weighed 698 pounds, 317 kilograms at the time of his death. His heart and lungs were seriously damaged by his weight. His heart was 3 times its normal size, and his lungs showed signs of failure. They had begun to fill with fluid, a sign that his heart was working too hard, all caused by his extreme obesity. After finding out about her brother's death, Nikki called Liza, accusing her of killing him. "I know you killed my brother." And the reason she felt that way is because she remembered the talks of her affair, her previously expressing that she was unhappy with him and how she wanted to get away from him. But she was supposedly afraid that it would never be possible as long as he's alive. She also had him cremated quickly, against Pun's wishes, before the doctors could perform any further tests to find out more about his death. So Nikki thought that she did it on purpose, in the attempt of—
Y'all think the wife had something to do with it? Y'all think the wife did something? Damn, that fucked up she did, though. Damn, bro. This shit right here don't make you want to get married, I ain't gonna lie.
Covering up the murder. But to this day, there's no proof to any of her claims. On February 11th, at the Ortiz funeral home in Brooklyn, everybody gathered to pay their respects to Pun and his family. Fat Joe supposedly paid for the entire funeral. Pun's uncle showed up and made a scene after seeing Joe standing next to the family. This was the same uncle that refused to help Pun when he was a little boy, kicked out by his mom, forced to be homeless. And his uncle told him to go eat rocks. Pun wore the mental scars inflicted by his family until the day he died. So Fat Joe got really mad. They were all partly responsible for Pun's death, never cared for him while he was alive. Now all of a sudden they want to pretend like everything was cool. "Who is this?" Pun's uncle asked while pointing at Joe. "He ain't family. What is he doing here?" "I know who you are," Joe said. "You're Pun's uncle, huh?" "I'm Fat Joe. I paid for all this." Joe started verbally attacking him right in front of his family, while Pun was laying there in the coffin. Guess what? He told me just how big of a piece of issue you were. He told me when he was hungry, you gave him rocks to eat. Let me tell you something else. Talk to your family. Because I'll F you up in here, bro. Bad. Pun's uncle then calmed down. "I'm sorry," he said. "Yo, my man, get the F out of here," Joe answered. Pun's sister Nikki said that Liza didn't show any signs of a grieving widow, even added that she looked quite happy, as she smiled and had a laugh or two with some of her family and personal friends. Liza supposedly sat in front of the casket like a quote-unquote queen, expecting checks from a lot of celebrity friends offering support for the family. Nikki was also bothered that Liza allowed 2 of her children to be there during the cremation ceremony, because Pun's kids were fighting over who will press the button first to start the oven to burn their father. They didn't know what was going on and turned it into a game.
Hell no.
Nikki also wanted
the Predator. Yeah, this be my last time reviewing Big Pun. You know what I'm saying? This shit sad here. I ain't gonna lie.
Wanted Pun to be buried and not cremated, so that everyone can visit his grave, but his wife was against it. A final autopsy was supposedly never performed. The cause of death was still pending, because the results of a toxicology test were not yet complete. Pun's sophomore album Year Baby was getting mixed and mastered by the time he passed. They released it on April 4th, 2000, 2 months after his death. It went gold after 3 months and later went platinum. Pun had also started to work on the album after that, which he wanted to call Endangered Species, but he was only able to record a couple of songs before he passed. So they decided to release it as a compilation album with some of his greatest hits and best moments, on top of the last tracks he ever recorded.
I think he died like in 2000. But if y'all correct me wrong, I think he died in 2000. Like, so it's like 26 years later, in 2026. So I don't expect everybody to remember who he was. You know what I'm saying? I knew little about him. I just knew he had that hit song about Don't Want to Be a Player No More. And that's the only song I knew about him.
Including My World and Mama. The album came out a year later on March 27th, 2001. Big Pun's story is one of brilliance, pain and power. He shattered barriers as the first Latino solo rapper to go platinum. Yet behind the success was a man overwhelmed by pressure, personal battles and a system that failed to support him. His weight, his fame and his past all collided, leading to a heartbreaking end that still haunts hip-hop today. But even in death, Pun's legacy lives on. In the verses he spit, the doors he kicked open, and the pride he gave to an entire generation of Latino artists. Rest in peace, Big Pun. A Bronx legend and lyrical heavyweight. One of the greatest rappers of all time.
Your boy Flower, man.
Another one.
Give me a hell yeah.
I hope y'all enjoy it. I gotta do DMX one more time.
This guy, Ready Ron. I mean, he was like an
illegal substances on the property. According to himself, his funeral took place in Brooklyn on April 25th. And a month later, on May 25th, they released his final album, Exodus, through his old label Def Jam, which he signed to 2 years prior, selling 32,000 copies in the first week and debuting at number 8 on the US Billboard 200 chart. DMX's life was never simple, never clean, and never easy. He gave the world his pain, his faith, and his truth.
He said I sound stupid and literally fuck. But anyway.
Unfiltered and unapologetic. While his
I hope y'all enjoyed the stream tonight. Appreciate everybody from Twitter, Twitch. Appreciate y'all.